Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the official launch of issue number 4 of Horse H. Hoover. So, this is going to be a longer stream. Usually I have like this hard out at an hour. I get very sleepy. No, not sleepy after an hour, but I start to lose my voice and I feel like an hour is my cutoff, but tonight I'm going to go for a long time. I got a lot of stuff to cover. I want to go through the whole campaign, all the rewards, all the products, kind of do a little recap of issues 1 through 3 for anybody who has read it, but it's been a bit. So I'm going to be hanging out for a bit, and then after I go through all of the rewards and the campaign, then I'll kind of open it up. If anybody's still hanging around and wants to come and chat, that would be a lot of fun. And I'll let people kind of filter in, but I have to start the stream with this because I hung out with a friend of mine from college, and I had a big birthday recently. So he made me something, and then we don't really exchange gifts. That's not a thing we do. So I have to show this. Let's see if this is gonna work. He made this for me. Is that inverted? It is. Listen, 1 second. All right, we'll do this. So he made this card for me. It's the Murtaugh card, right? And on the back, I don't know if you can read it all, but basically the bearer of this card once per year performs one of these actions, and then I'll read them. Revoke someone's diplomatic immunity, cause a significant distraction and not get shot, removal of pants required, avoid the explosion of a toilet, and my name's even on it, Fabrizio Aiello. And then at the bottom he has Sempre Memor Esto Alba Varden, which if you're a Lethal Weapon fan like me, who I don't know if there's a bigger Lethal Weapon fan than me, knew exactly what that meant. So yeah, I thought this was absolutely fantastic. I'm going to carry this in my wallet. And at the appropriate time, somebody asks me, I don't know, it's not too late. Let's go to the bar. Let's hang out. Let's go walk around. I'm pulling this card and just laying it on the ground. So highly sought after excuse card. Yeah, I thought that was great. He made it too. I told him you should totally sell those. I think they'd do awesome. All right, so some people in chat. We'll see who is hanging out. Dr. Mask, how's it going? Dr. Mask has a current campaign, which I will post the link to that. It's an Edgar Allan Poe sort of narrative book. I have some art in it. It's very, very cool. Creative Faye, how's it going? I do a stream with Creative Faye whenever we can. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Ara, long time no see. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Yang Yang Jiao, thanks for popping in. I also appreciate it. Yeah, whoever wants to pop in later, I'll post an invite. This is going to take some time, though, so if somebody wants to take a nap, I totally get it. Human Being 9445. How's it going? I haven't seen that screen name before. It's very descriptive. Human Being 9445. To be the 9,445th person to be in existence is impressive. Let's see. L Low 1 Bow 2. Not that that matters, but I was the first backer. Oh, thank you. I did go a few hours ago to check the site, but it's been a while, so I'll have to see who's in there. Laughing at the Murtaugh card. It's just brilliant, truly brilliant. Hard to believe Danny Glover was talking about retirement at 40. Yeah, I know. That's one of those weird movie things that you just let slide. And it's not only later on when you hit 40, you're like, wait a minute. How can you retire at 40 on a cop's salary? No wonder everybody thought Roger was on the take. He's like, yeah, I'm retiring. I'm only 28. I'm like, are you sure you're handing out all of that drug bust money? It is very awesome. Alrighty. So first things first, I will pull up the campaign. Let's see here. So I will refresh it. It's been a few minutes. 449 with 14 backers. Thank you very much. This is exciting. I've never done a crowdfunder before. I was involved in a crowdfunder. The first 2 issues of Horace H. Hoover. And then issue 3, I just went ahead and printed and sold on my website, which was fun, but it, I don't know, it kind of came and went. It was, I don't know, I went to cons and I was able to sell it, but it kind of didn't make a blip just because it wasn't on Kickstarter or GoFundMe or something like that. Hey Marcus, how's it going? Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I'll do like a quick campaign overview, like I said. I'll do a recap and then we'll go into detail. So let's see here. Just to show you how the site is structured. Most people are familiar with crowdfunding, but there's a lot that aren't. So I don't want to assume that everybody knows how to do this. A lot of us have backed a bunch, but some people haven't. So essentially, you first Google Horace H. Hoover on Kickstarter if you don't have the link already. And there's a trailer, which we will watch shortly. You hit back this project. And the story essentially is kind of broken into, it tells you the status of the current project. I talk about the previous issues. You kind of get sample pages. The trade, and then you have reward tiers. And reward tiers is kind of the crux of the whole thing. Pick something that's appropriate. You know, you have issue 1, you have a catch-up, digital, all of that. And then you can add add-ons, which after you pick your issue or whatever you want to do, you can add any of these, you know, stickers or prints or magnets or things like that on top of what you purchase. There's original art. I'll go through all of this. And then there's stretch goals. So stretch goals are, if I raise $5,000, then everybody will get a sticker. If I raise $7,000, everybody will get this 11 by 17 print. 10,000 is the magnet set, and so on and so forth. So that's how it's structured. You can get around easily using the nav on the left-hand side. See, this is essentially anchor links. So you can just kind of bounce, because it's one long page of content, and that can get kind of tedious. So add-ons, original art, stretch goals, and risks. So that's how it's structured. You hit back the project, and then you'll get those add-ons. And again, I will go through all of that later. But for now, I kind of want to go take a walk down memory lane and talk about the first 3 issues, because this is issue number 4. So it is the culmination of a larger story arc of the Smoke Man that was started in issue 1. It is 38 pages, definitely the longest book I've done, which I would like to blame for why it's taken so long. It's as good a reason as another. And it's also the first crowdfunder. So it's kind of a milestone for me in the book and kind of where I'm going to be moving forward. But I figured we would start with kind of poking around the books. So, one second here. So if you have backed the books in the past, you'll notice that this is a little thicker paper. It's not cardstock, but it's definitely thicker cover and interior. It's a matte finish. And I'll kind of give a Hopefully this works. Not great. So this is issue 1. And just to kind of give a... So Gloomy Wood is the comic imprint. It's based off of Dante's Inferno translation, but that's the imprint. So if you ever see Gloomy Wood, that's what that is. The company is Unhallowed Art, so that covers covers anything I would do, because I sell resin model prints, I sell other things besides comics. So the Gloomy Wood, I want it to be specific to comics. So this is the book, and you know, this is going to be a little brutal, isn't it? Let's see here. I think paging through that might be more tedious, so I'll page through the PDF a little bit. In 1 second. Yeah, I saw your comment about the Baxter paper. I was a big fan of that. I know people like newsprint, and newsprint is great, but that Baxter paper, whenever they came out with that, it was so vivid and clear. I loved it. Let's see here. Okay. I'll check the comments real quick. Dr. Mask, it's like you're in the middle of the desert and you can't get your canteen open. It's always like that. I think that's my entire life, basically. The Sandman's Mystery Media. Well, that's cool. Just came on to say a big fan of the pulps in your book. I supported in the second it went live. I would love to interview you sometime on my small channel sometime. Keep up the great work. Yeah, for sure. Just reach out. I'm on Twitter, YouTube. Just let me know. That'd be fun. I love the image you have there. Plus, the Dawn is sick and there's no studio this week. Matte finish is the way to go for comics. I hate the shiny paper. That feels like plastic. My issue with gloss paper, I started to hate it whenever we had like interior gloss pages, and you have to angle it just the right way so you can read it. And I always would catch myself having to angle the paper. And I never liked that, you know. It doesn't have to be newsprint, obviously, but I think matte or uncoated is the way to go. I love the new stock. Reminds me of the old Baxter paper. Yep, I ordered issue 3 from the website earlier. Yeah, so currently on the website, if you go to horacehoover.com, that's where I sell comics, resin models. All of those are out of stock currently. Those will be in stock in the future at some point in time. So we'll see. Do you want to promote your book on the studio? That's the draw stream I'm on, where we draw your character to promote your book. Yeah, for sure. That'd be a lot of fun. I'll reach out. Thanks, Marcus. Crenshaw, how's it going? Hello, chat. Cool. Thanks for popping in. Saturday night, I don't think I've ever streamed on a Saturday night. So we'll see how this goes. But I'm going to be here. The Sandman's Mystery Media. Baxter paper really showed the talent of the artist or lack thereof. It also lasts better than the old newsprint. Yeah, there's a few books in particular I always think of, and people can make fun of me for this, but it was the Crystar books, the first one, because it was double-sized, but man, those colors really popped. I'm blanking on the other book I always think of when I think of Baxter paper, but those are the ones when I was growing up, the first time I noticed, it felt just like premium. It felt like rich man's comics. So yes, we're making rich man comics. Cool. Thanks. Thanks, Marcus. You know what? You've mentioned Camelot, and I've always seen it. I've never read it though. Always wanted to. Um, wasn't the first GI Joe on it? Maybe. Right now, I have a collected, like a compendium. I only have a few issues because that's a book that I totally missed until much much later. I don't know. Yeah, Christar. Man, that was such a tragic story. Two brothers, they become enemies. I love that story. And again, I know people make fun of me because there was a toy, but it's like it was the 80s. There was a toy for everything. I think there was a toy for Crime and Punishment, right? No, just kidding. Splurting landlord blood. Um, Christar had a great cover. Yeah. DC used it for all of their new format books in the 80s. Okay, it was. Yeah, some books I missed because I had a newsstand. So if it wasn't at the newsstand, I didn't buy it. Or I didn't even know about it. Pre-internet, pre-anything. You'd run down to the newsstand with your 65 cents, but if it wasn't there, I didn't even know it existed. Um, I lived in a pretty small town, and we were sheltered in a good way. We didn't have a bookstore in my town. We had to drive to Du Bois, which was about 35 minutes away, for a bookstore. And I remember when I discovered, was it Walden Books? I think it was Walden Books in the Du Bois Mall. It changed my life, and people can attest to that. Since then, I collect books like a hoarder. Nothing wrong with Christar. ROM was a cool. Oh yeah, ROM was fun. Micronauts. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Whether or not the toy or the comic book comes first doesn't make a difference to me. I think it's fun. At least it was fun in the 80s. I mean, if you're trying to sell me a toy and you want to write a story, that's fine with me. I'll take it. Alrighty. So where was I? All right, so let's kind of just do a recap of issue 1. And it is interesting. Again, 4 issues is a lot of pages to write, draw, ink, color, and letter. So it's definitely noticeable, the progression between all of the issues. And I can see what kind of things I was working on at that particular time. So for issue 1, it was my first, technically my first full issue comic, and can I do it at all? Can I finish an actual book, tell a story visually? Can I do the whole thing? And it was a great first entrance into comics. I had done some short stories in the past. I had done some other things, but this is the first thing I did completely by myself. And I think partly because, and a lot of people out there probably know what I'm saying, collaboration with other people is difficult. It can be very difficult because sometimes people have problems in their lives that don't allow them to hold up their end of the bargain. Sometimes it's just their procrastination, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever the reason, it just never gets done. And I had tried to work with other people in the past, and it was, in the end, these dead projects, this like discarded graveyard of cool ideas. And it kind of gets to you after a while. So I was like, you know what? Before I get my Murtaugh card, I am going to finish a comic book. I didn't know I'd get a Murtaugh card, but I sensed it. So I knew I was going to finish a book. I didn't care how I would finish it. I was going to get it over the finish line. So first issue, Horace H. Hoover. We jump right into the story. And this is an important thing. I didn't want world building. I didn't want to, discuss like the minutia of his helmet, why he has it, what are his powers. Because to me, that's kind of uninteresting, at least in the beginning. To me, I think Star Trek and sci-fi in general really goes takes a dive whenever they're talking about the nacelles or some photon something something. You get the technical jargon, you get all of that stuff, and I honestly don't care. It doesn't interest me in the least. It's always the characters for me. Are they interesting? Is there something going on? Is there a mystery? Like the setting is irrelevant. Is it 2,000 years in the future on a spaceship, or is it ancient Rome? It doesn't really make a difference. Um, what are the characters in your story? And are they likable? And I'll talk about that a little later, I think. This is 2019 by the time I did the comic. I'd been working on like the resin model a couple of years before that. But at this point, I had come across so many movies and TV shows where every character is utterly unlikable, immoral, and I just don't like. I just can't stand them. They have zero redeeming qualities, and I think that really influenced this character because I just wanted a good character that was likable, not in a generic way. You can make a character likable. I always think about Game of Thrones spoilers. Lannister, right? The worst of the worst character. And all he had to do was protect Bree, of Tarth or whatever, the knight, from getting assaulted. Voila, he's a good character. So I think stuff like that's cheap. And I think it's Save the Cat stuff. Save the Cat is a very famous screenplay writing book. And there's these tricks and tropes and cliches that everybody uses all the time. So this was kind of like my anti-cliche, my anti-trope book. And I tried to make likable characters, interesting characters, different characters. If you hate them, that's fine. At least it was a different character. At least it's not the same thing you've seen 100 times. So we open with Horace in his study, and he's reading some ancient tome. He hears a noise. There's a girl upstairs. We get to find out that she's being haunted by this mysterious dark man. Horace he investigates, and I don't want to like go page by page here, but he investigates. He finds out that the book is actually being haunted. So he takes the book from the girl, and then he kind of moves on. Now this works in a lot of ways as a totally separate, self-contained short story. And I like short stories that, end on a cliffhanger. I think all short stories should end on a cliffhanger for the most part. Or some like big impactful thing. Short stories shouldn't kind of like peter out at the end. And what that does is if it's a cliffhanger, not a cliffhanger, but it's a big reveal, and that reveal can kind of live on its own, and you can make up the rest of your story if you think there is one, or you can pick it up later. So for me, I thought it was a great story because if nobody ever picks up another Horace H. Hoover book, there will be 2 complete short stories. But if I want to pick up these stories and kind of run with them, then I'll do that. So first issue done, self-contained, have a little bit of a cliffhanger. We learn about Mr. Sinclair, who lived there previously to that girl. And now Horace has a book that seems to be haunted. So then we have the second. Actually, let me check the chat, see what's going on. Dr. Mask, someone said questions are really interesting, but answers are usually boring and stupid. I mean, it depends. I really enjoyed that you just dropped us into the world, and it was so well written and drawn. You don't care about the origins. You just take it all in and want to see where it's going. Thank you so much. This was the first book, and one thing I keep thinking about is like I spent a lifetime reading though, and I've also read about writing. So I've done the whole circle, the whole cycle, right? I've spent a lifetime reading comics and fiction and nonfiction and all sorts of things. You can't help but start to pull stuff and sort of infer structure And then, later on, I read about writing. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of writing advice, like I mentioned, which I just disagree with totally. Um, because everybody reads the same stories, the McKean book, the Save the Cat. Um, and because of that, people start to follow these cliches and structures that are so easily telegraphed. I always mention this whenever me and my wife are watching a movie. Like, you always know when the third act is going to hit there. So we have something called third act coffee, but it's the most obvious part of the story. Like, okay, we're about to hit third act. It's the low point. Blah blah blah. Let's go get some dessert, make some coffee, and then finish out the movie. And that's fun to a degree, but it's also like, why am I even bother watching this? If I know what's going to happen, I don't I don't really see any point in watching it, because then I'm just wasting 2 hours of my life. Marcus, I agree. So many characters are just unlikable today. I just watched two new shows and stopped watching them because the main characters. I was already rooting for the killer to kill the protagonist within like the first issue or first episode. I know I've told you before, but I love Horace's interaction with the little girl. I think about that more than I probably should. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's a nice moment, but it's different in that a lot of like young, like child characters are written obnoxiously. They're know-it-alls. They're smarter than all the adults. Like, they're precocious and not in a fun, interesting way. They're just obnoxious. So I wrote the girl like I imagined a girl would actually act in that scenario. A girl would be scared of a ghost haunting her, right? So she's going to run to an adult that she knows and ask for help. Um, I don't think people write those kind of stories because in their head, there's these archetypes now, and they're very new archetypes, and it's the annoying child character. It's the doofus adult. And I just think, anyway, it's easily telegraphed, so I try to go against that type. Okay, so let's jump to the second story. Now, this story, it's a little funny because I worked backwards from the very last page because there's a joke at the end, and I worked backwards from the joke. I know a lot of people will say they write the last page in the book and, outline it from there, whatever, but this was a joke. This was just a joke. So everything kind of was reverse engineered from that last joke. I have had a few people, well, no, not a few people. I've had one person basically tell me they didn't understand either of these stories. They didn't understand the ending. They didn't understand them. And that was really concerning to me. This is somebody who should have told me earlier. And anyway, long story short, but since then, I haven't heard anybody say they don't understand the stories. And that's the most important thing is making sure that people understand what's going on. So hopefully people got the joke in the second issue. But because of that, I start with this joke. This kind of world pops up. But again, I don't really explain much. They're all in a car, and you immediately kind of know Horace is talking because he's using a bunch of language that is only Horace appropriate. I'm not going to go through all of the issues like this, but I haven't looked at this in a while. There's some language here that I was so stuck on because I'm like, it's got to be this one thing, and I couldn't nail it. And it was having performed your duties with grace and aplomb. That phrase I couldn't remember. And despite what a lot of people think, I don't use a thesaurus, I don't use a dictionary, I don't use ChatGPT. I only use language and words and structures that I know because it's important to me that things sound natural. I think if you've ever tried to use a thesaurus, it doesn't really work, and Horace has his own way of speaking. So, like, if I've got something stuck in my brain, I'm like, I can't move forward until I get that phrase. So they come to this place, the Valley of Fear. It's a whole town world with these tentacles sort of like coming from the sky and just kind of draped across these houses. We learn about his case where he had to bring an idol to this house in this Valley of Fear. And the things we hopefully notice in this place is you see that these tentacles have been here a long time because houses have sort of built up around them. So they're very much a part of this thing. It came from the sky and that was it. Like this is the way they live. We see an example of one of the tentacles like smashing a house, and there's a reason for it, which will play into the last page. This is my fake ad of a video game that I had started like 15 years ago. The game was Monster Beach Vacation, but since that 15 years ago, I guess there's a cartoon called that, so I had to change it to Monster Summer Beach Vacation. But this was a game I had started to program because I'm a programmer by trade. Never finished it, but I liked the idea of making this an Atari ad with the graphics, because you're looking through those old comic books and you see these Atari ads and you're just imagining the most amazing graphics and it's going to come to life, and then you get it and it's just a couple of rectangles, a couple of colored rectangles. So they go to the house, they meet the butler, he takes him in, there's some fighting. We get to the end. Again, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but they defeat whoever they need to, and they find something called the Death Compass, and then they leave. And this is another kind of cliffhanger, but is left open, because we know now that this cult, the Veil Cult, knows about Horace H. Hoover. So that was issue 2. And then the letters page. So the original time that this was published, there wasn't enough room for the letters page or my coupon. So when I got to republish these, I got to actually do them as they were supposed to be. So, yep, and that's the end of that. Let's see here. Even changes made to established characters have made them unlikable today. Yeah, it's shocking to me. And, why are characters unlikable? I'm going to be completely honest. It's because I think a lot of the writers are unlikable. I don't think an unlikable, angry, frustrated person can write a, happy, funny, nice person without relying on tropes and cliches. Because that's the only way they can do it. They can't do it in a natural way because they don't have that sensibility. Let's see. One really unlikable character that is a great read is Carl Edward Wagner's Kane. That sounds familiar. I'll have to look that up. I don't know about that, though. Sounds like that recent Salem Lot movie. Kid was the smartest person on the earth. Everyone else rated. Yeah, it's been done so many times at this point. It's so overdone. Hey, John's Long Box. Thanks for popping in. Let's see. I left Horace going down the street, going under the bridge, and bam, Lovecraft Country fun ensues. Yeah, I wanted that kind of, surprise. He's in New York, and up until this point, we haven't seen anything extraordinary. So I did want to, kind of give you that, turn the page, and it's a big deal. All right. I swear I'm not going to spend that much time on these next 2 issues because we'll be here all night. So, but I will kind of page through issue 2. A bit, and then we'll go through the campaign. Alrighty. So this is issue 2. And this is probably, whenever you open this book, if you've read the first issue, you're not quite sure what you're getting because you have Horace, but you have a bunch of new characters you haven't seen before. Beware the book bug. You have this guy clad in paper and books. You have this crazy looking bandaged eyed, 2-tongued guy. And then you have this woman like holding an ankh and this weird wooden robot thing in the back. So I knew that was the case, so I wanted to open up in just like right in the middle of a scene, which I do because we're in the middle of a seance, or what's about to become a seance. We quickly know that, okay, so they have the book that Horus got in the first issue, and they're trying to speak to this ghost that's currently haunting this book. So we have Max, Slurp, and Horus. So it's the gang is back together, and they know this medium from something else. So they kind of prepare themselves for the seance. We get a setting. So this is like a gypsy wagon in New York City. Now, Slurp, I don't think I mentioned this, but you can translate Slurp's dialogue. Some people have done it, and so, I think some of the dialogue's pretty funny, but I didn't want to be the one to translate it. So if somebody out there knows it and they want to share it, that's fine. But it's not random and it's not gibberish. It is actual dialogue, and I do a pass. So they bring this guy back out. He's the smoke man. Starts talking to Horus. As they discuss things, something else appears, this big demon with chains, and you can see his wings are bound and all this kind of stuff. He basically tells Horus to stay away and kind of blows up the place. From here, Horus is like, okay, we need to investigate. We get a little scene here where Horus is at a library and asking, for the special collection. They're like, what are you talking about? So they give him the key to the janitor's room. He goes up, and then he finds this library with a large, I don't know, 20-story statue of a man draped with scrolls on him. It's another world of a library. And we get a little insight into what that is. Again, I'm not going to go into it because I want people to read the book, hopefully. He kind of does some research. While he's there, he gets attacked by presumably the book bug because he was on the cover. They fight a bit. And unfortunately, Horus loses, and he gets taken far underneath the library. And we sort of end on these monks, these librarians that handle and take care of the books. Again, another letters page. Something to keep in mind with the letters page. All the letters are mini epistolaries. So all of the issues together, each letter, if you read like one letter per issue, will be its own story. So it's another 6 stories, and those stories can relate to each other and also to Horus' stuff. So this is very much pure world building, but it's in the context of actual letters page. I've never seen that done before. It may or may not have been done, but it's all fodder for the world of Horus. So it's not random. It's not just to fill out some pages. It really actually means something. So highly recommend you check that out. There's a couple of pages of just some artwork, and then we get the end. Alrighty. Let's check out some content, some comments. The phone number on your coupon is busy right now. Yeah, there's so that I did that phone number like 3 years. It expired and I can't get it back. But if you had called that number, and apparently nobody has, you would actually get Slurp answering the phone. That's what you would get. You get Slurp. They would like basically in Slurpees, leave a message. We'll get back to you later. But it expired, and once it expired, I couldn't get it back, and it didn't seem like people were interested in that. I may try to get it back, but I think once it's lost, it's lost. Is there supposed to be no shipping on issue 4 La Solo? No, there should, unless it's digital. No, I don't have a 4. Yeah, there should be shipping on that. There's got to be shipping on that. Let me check that for a second, because that would be bad. I can't pay for shipping on that. If you get in there, let me know. Like if you go through it and it doesn't charge you, then that's apparently I'll be giving a book completely free away. Let me double check here. This is one of those things where you spend so much time and there's so many things. You know, I'm working on the book, I'm getting the printed and working on this. Let's see here. Issue 4. Issue 4 solo. I had put it in, it's not in there now. That's interesting. That's not good, right? That's not good. I double, triple, and quadruple checked this. All right, sorry, hold on one second. Well, we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. That's not good, though. I'm jumping ahead, but I wish every library had a hidden knowledge section deep in its bowels like this issue. Yeah, I actually used, when I was writing that issue, I'm a huge fan of the opera, the book fan. And I'm like, how can I do like a fan of the opera thing in a library, you know? And that's kind of what I was thinking of when I was doing that. Thanks, John. I think you're talking about the letters page there. I love what you're doing with the letters page. I worked at a college newspaper, and we used to sit around making up personnels for our page. That's cool. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to waste any space. So I figured I'll do as much as I can, because honestly, that's a lot of story, and it's just text. So it's kind of not free, but it's a lot less than me having to draw and ink and color and letter a page. So I can cram a lot more story by doing that. There was no shipping when I supported it. It didn't show this morning. That's not good. Looks like I'm giving a free book away. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know if I can fix that. Probably not, huh? It said 8 to 10 for shipping, but it didn't seem to add it when I finished checking out. Does it add it whenever you, I think it's at the very end, maybe whenever the campaign funds, I think that's what it is. So many moving parts, I know. Now, go ahead, Marcus, don't worry about it. I think it just, what happens is at the end of the campaign, it takes that into account. All right, so let's go through issue 3 real quick. I'm at 45 minutes. This will be like the longest stream already, and I haven't even started. Jeez. I'm going to go very quick through issue 3, though. I haven't done a marathon stream. Like, other people do, 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour streams. I've never done that before. So maybe I'll do it. As long as there's people watching, I might as well still hang out and chat. All right, so this is issue 3. This is my first self-published book. This is the longest book as far as pages. And I definitely felt like this is the first book where I was pretty confident. Like, I felt like I had pacing down and characters and the writing. I mixed up some things. You'll notice in this book there's some flashbacks, there's some different character development. I was very happy with this book. So issue 1 was the start. Issue 2 is like, okay, I can push a little further. Issue 3 was definitely the first issue where I felt really confident in what I was doing. and by confident I mean what I had in my head is actually what came out as far as the content. So it wasn't I'm like, well, this is as good as I can do, this is the best panel I can do. It's like I felt very good with the end product. All right, so this, he's basically, the book bug has him. There's a new character. We find out what the book bug does and why he does it. We get the sort of the background of the book bug. Here's a little Easter egg. This thing right here, this wooden robot, when I was in college, I had a sculpture class, and it was 3D sculpture, and we had to do large sculptures. I think the requirement was something that was 6 feet, and we had worked in styrofoam, we had worked in cardboard, and this was wood. So I built essentially this. It was pretty abstract, but you could still tell it was a figure. And this is what it was right here. It was like, because it was pieces of wood, there was dowels in between holding them together. I didn't have any metal, but I like hacked this thing together. It was actually pretty cool. And it's like one of those deals where, yeah, I did this in college, and when I have to come up with a concept for a robot, I'll pull this thing from, when I was 19 years old. It completely fits. It's original because at minimum I did it 30 years ago. So even if somebody did the same thing 10 years ago, I got you beat by 10 years, or 20 years. So we get some background for the book bug, why he does what he does. Basically, Horace and this new character get thrown down into these caves. They very quickly meet some other things that live in the caves. There's some fighting. I'm going to go by here pretty quick. We get a little background on this new character, why he's down there, why he was in the library, and why the book bug grabbed him. We see the first emotional, impactful scene. The first time you see Horace get mad. So we're 3 issues in, and he's dealt with a lot of crazy stuff, but you don't see him get angry or upset. And you do see that in this book, and you'll understand why. And that reveals character. Out of all the things that happen, when he finds this one particular thing out, it tells you what he holds in high regard. And this is another fake ad. So we're issue 3 in. This is Horror at Malice Manor. This is a fake board game based on the Valley of Fear in issue 1. So you'll see there's houses with tentacles, and there's cards you pull with language, and all of this makes sense. It all ties together. So this is a fake board game based on issue 1, which I really love that idea. This is one of those things that it takes a chunk of time to do it, because you have to make it look like it's from 1980 something. And their graphic design sensibility was not great. So you kind of have to purposefully be bad at some layout in your design. And there's actually some Easter eggs in this too. We meet Horace's wife Grace for a moment. There's some other things down in the caves that we see. At the very end, the monster from the beginning picks up Horace and this character, and this is a spoiler, so plug your ears, but he throws the antiquarian. And if you've read this book already, which I don't know how many people have, and how many people are disinterested in this, this is the moment where I decide to toss Lovecraftian tropes, because he's the antiquarian. So you have Horace, this verbose, optimistic, good character, always does the right thing. And then in the other hand of this monster, you have an antiquarian who, researches dark, occult things, does terrible things, morally gray. And at this point, the monster throws him to the other monster to get eaten up. And this was my little, okay, I'm not going down the Lovecraftian way. There might be little hints of it here and there, but what we consider to be a Lovecraftian story is not something I'm doing. And I'd show that by him throwing away the antiquarian, which is like the ultimate sort of like archetype for a Lovecraftian story. And then we find out this new character. They have a little chat, which I think is pretty interesting and funny. Again, the letters page, everything's still tying back together. And then we have a few images. Alrighty, and then we're done with that. So, wow, I'm gonna lose my voice soon. All right, first things first, let's go back to the campaign. Actually, let me check the comments. So many moving parts. Actually, I think it looks okay. I backed the catch-up tier 1. Cool. You may want to double check your shipping. I just backed Billy Tucci and I see the $11 shipping when I back and after when I manage. I'll check it out. It is what it is. I tried to change it and I couldn't. So we'll see. Can I unplug my ears now? Yes, you can. Sorry. All right, so let's pull up the campaign and go through all the tiers and I'll do that fairly quickly and then I'll do an open invite if everybody wants to come on and chat. Okay. So Horace H. Hoover, should we watch the trailer? Let's not watch the trailer right now. No, let's do it. Alrighty. No sound. Damn it. All right, that's fine. It's on the Kickstarter page. I'm not going to sweat it. Let's just go through the let's go through the book or the rewards. So issue 4. So this is issue 4. Again, this picks up right after issue 3. We wrap up this whole arc. We see some old characters. So the demon that warned off Horus. We see a lot of new characters, new locations. There's a couple of pages here for samples. Fighting the book bug. We get a couple of these like montages of some, we'll call them other dimensional spaces. There's a pretty big fight scene. The biggest fight scene that I've done yet. I think it's 6 pages long. And then we have issues 1, 2, and 3. So let's go through. Actually, here's the trade. So you can order issues 1 through 3 separately, or there's actually a trade, which is the first 3 issues. So it's volume 1. Issues 4 and 5 will be collected into volume 2, and that'll probably be out, I don't know at this point, maybe next year or something like that. I haven't done issue 5 yet, so. But this is, I'm actually a big fan of the trade. This is a print on demand, but the quality is really nice. The pages are really thin, and it takes it takes the colors really well. So this is very, I don't say it's less quality, but it's very easy to read, and it's very more similar to like a newsprint kind of paper than the singles. So the singles are more like premium, and then the trade is definitely a little lower quality, but it's collected. And some people like floppies, some people like the trade. So that's available. That is limited. I'll go through that later. So issue 4 solo, which is just issue 4. It's 38 pages. It's the same format as everything else. That hopefully you'll get charged shipping. If not, we'll see what happens. If not, I will be giving this book away for free, I guess. The catch-up bundle. So this is issues 1 through 4. And if you do this, you get $4 savings. I wanted to make it very clear what you were saving here. A lot of times, it's hard to tell if you're saving any money for bundles. So I wanted to make it very clear. Digital bundle, obviously you get PDFs of all 4 of these. Those go out really quickly because issue 4 is done. It's currently at the printers for a proof. So you'll get the digital PDFs very quickly. Media Mania is all of the digital and all of the print. You save $6 for that. So you'll get the PDFs early, and then the print right now is looking to ship it like in February sometime. The Detective Set. So this is issue 4. It is a sketch card, which I'll show some of my sketch cards. It's a 2.5 by 3.5 sketch card, full color. And I will be doing all Horace H. Hoover themed stuff. Generally, I have at least one character, sometimes multiple characters, backgrounds. It'll be full color, so I'll be doing watercolor for those. Some bookmarks, and then a 5-inch resin model of Horace H. Hoover. And I'll show this a little later. This is something that I sculpted and that was manufactured. I only have, I think, 10 of them left. And I will not be doing more runs of the resin models. So if that interests you at all, definitely check that out. And then there's the retailer set, which is 5 copies of each issue, and you get a $40 savings for that. So that's pretty self-explanatory. All right, so add-ons. Let me jump back here. No sound. Oh, well. Such a fun occult detective story. I hope Hoover has more adventures when this issue 5 series is done. Yeah, I'd like to keep it going. I think I'll definitely kind of jump back and forth between other properties, commissions. So I'll be making stories to some degree. Maybe not limited series. They'll probably be self-contained stories. Yeah, and I'll continue Horace H. Hoover and then start another series maybe. But it would be very difficult to just stop. You always get ideas. You got a link if folks want to join you. Yes. Let me just run through this. I'll post it in like 5 minutes real quick. That's how I got introduced to Horace, the trade paperback. Oh, cool. Trade is lighter and portable. The way, yeah, it's just a different feel. And because the pages aren't gloss, it feels more like a newsprint kind of thing. I wish my painting skill were better. I would buy one of those models. There are painted ones and there are unpainted ones. So I'll show the two. For the next models, try vinyl. Easier to work with and make, I think. Most expensive thing is the molds. Yeah, I know. I sell resin model kits. I've done a lot of that, but I'm getting away from 3D models and stuff like that. So when I sell all of the stuff that I have, I'll probably kind of get away from that. Okay, so I do want to show real quick the resin model. So it comes in this little box. And something to keep in mind for resin is it's fragile. It's not, it's not a toy. It's not ABS or PLA or any of that kind of stuff. So it is very much, and I'll zoom in here. It's very much something you sit on your desk somewhere and just don't touch it. You don't want your cat playing with this thing. There's a lot of little detail in it, but it's resin. You know, these things have to be glued together. And if you see here on this side, you have a wire holding like the tiniest plug you've ever seen. So these are fully painted, hand painted by this guy, Evan Morgan. He's from the UK, and I've had him do a few things for me, and he's fantastic. But he does low run kits basically. So these are $65, and you can add it as an add-on. And then there's the unpainted. So the unpainted ones, I'm not going to show the whole ones, but there's some pictures of the unpainted. You know, this is like the body, and you'll see that there's holes because the arms are keyed. They're cut and keyed to fit inside. And then you take some super glue, you glue those together, and then you paint them however you see fit. Let's see, what else? Something I did want to mention about some fun things that I'm at least planning to do. So bookmarks are pretty standard. I don't really need to go into bookmarks. I love bookmarks because it's the only thing I use. Stickers are dicey because, you know, stickers, I'm not going to do a ton with stickers. So I'm trying to make stickers that I think are fun, irrespective of the content. So even if you don't know Horace H. Hoover, you know, the sticker might catch your eye. So I'm trying to do something a little, you know, brand independent, we'll say, for the stickers. This is a bumper sticker, and it's like a political sticker. Tired of fighting Washington monsters. This is Horace H. Hoover. That's an add-on. 11 by 17 prints. I'm moving a little fast, but again, I've hit my hour, so it's kind of weird. So these are really nice. These are pretty high quality cardstock. These are gloss. I'll zoom in again, hold on. These are nice. These are some of my favorite high quality prints. Nice cardstock, very nice. So I'm offering a few of those. I might add more as the campaign goes. Right now, I think there's 2 available. And if you have any requests, if there's an image, you're like, you know what, I would love to see that on a poster, let me know. I'll pop that on too. Yeah, so sketch cards, I don't have any colored yet, but I've been working on them. So, you know, here's an example of something you might see. So I like to do scenes. So you'll see multiple characters. Here's the book bug in the Well of Cicero. You know, and that'll be colored in watercolor. You have Max fighting a monster. So it's not just busts or faces or anything like that, which is fine. I try to push myself as far as the detail. So you have Horace holding back this monster here. And on the back of the cards, I have a location for Horace to say something, and then you have the character, and then the lexical nomenclature area, which just means signature in very much Horace speak. So those are 2.5 by 3.5, full color watercolor as add-ons. So you can get those in addition to any other thing. All right, let's see. Yeah, so here's an example, like a close-up of the scale as well, because you'll see like a D20. It's about 5 inches. I figured out it's like a 1/15 scale. That once you get that small, it's kind of strange. And this is all the pieces to the unpainted, unassembled. It's very small. But people, you know, it's bigger than a miniature, but it's still pretty small. So if you like to do resin kits, it's not too hard, but you need some tweezers and some bifocals. So the original art. This is the first time that I'm selling original art. I'm doing 1 page from every issue. So I do inks on blue line. So this is issue 1. This is when they first see the Valley of Fear. And this is inks on blue line. So you can buy this. I've never sold any pages of any issues. So this is a big one for me, letting this stuff go. So we'll see how it goes. This is issue 2. This is the first time we see Mr. Sinclair, the Smoke Man. Again, this is inks on blue line. So it's all original brushwork. Here is issue 3. This is whenever they're lost and Horace is trying to figure out where to go. So he checks his device that he made. And issue 4. So this is another, I try to pick like interesting pages. So this is, and again, I'm not going to give away the story, but they meet the demon again. And this is sort of like the beginning of the climax of the story. So you have a great shot of this big demon perched on this wagon, and get a cool like team shot, which I liked here. So those are all available. And I don't know when I'll sell original artwork again. So if you have any interest, I would check those out for sure. Those are all add-ons. So you can pick a reward tier and then just add one of those pages on. And then stretch goals at $5,000, 5,000, you get a free sticker. I might switch this up or add stickers to this. We'll see. Because this sticker I've used before. So if people want a different sticker, I'll look into that. 11 by 17 print. So that library at $7,000, everybody will get a print. And I really, this is a double page spread. It's a lot of people's favorite image out of all the issues. 10K, this is really interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a set of magnets of Horace, Slurp, and Max. And then I'm going to do essentially word balloons that you can put next to a character at any given time. So I think it would be interesting to essentially grow this. So once you get the character magnets, then there'll be just sheets of word balloons of things that, Horace might say, and you can kind of mix and match. I thought that'd be kind of fun. A little different than the stickers, maybe a little more useful to throw them on as magnets, And then 15K is locked. So I think that is everything. Let me check the comments, and then I'll put an invite for everybody if anybody wants to jump on. Let's see here. Hey, Ben Soto, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Bifocals, you mean welfare for your eyes? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I refuse to get glasses. I refuse. You may see me with a lot of injuries to the front of my face because I'm running into doors, but it might be worth it. Library print would be sweet. Yeah. Again, I love the prints. They're not that expensive, and I think they're really high quality. So I'm a big fan of them. I don't know if people are into like smaller prints. To me, 11 by 17 is a nice size. It feels kind of worthwhile to put on your wall. Shipping's a little more. Okay, so let's see. Let's get the invite. And then I'm going to pop in and see if I'm offering free shipping when I shouldn't, because that will be amazing. Alrighty, yeah, so if anybody wants to pop in, we'll chat. It's 9:10. I will talk as long as people want to hear me talk. And we'll just kind of pop over the campaign. I haven't refreshed in a bit. 521. Cool, 18 backers. Thanks, everybody. I definitely have to check out that shipping thing. So I might go quiet for a minute. Give me a minute. So I think I did mess up the shipping. So I'm gonna have to end that reward and redo it. That's unfortunate, huh? Yeah, it won't. So it won't let me change the. Won't let me change the shipping after it's been. After it has been updated. Hey, David Hartman, thank you. I appreciate it. Man, your campaign, honestly, that was a high watermark. It was. I can't wait to get the book. I saw that. I saw that you had the books in. I'm really excited about that. Hey, Ben Soto. Hey,
Hey, how's it
Ben.
going, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. Congratulations on your launch, man. It's looking great.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I could offer free books to people because I put in the wrong shipping.
I saw that, I backed and it said, $10 flat, and I was like, oh, they're shipping.
Yeah. So I'll have to end that tonight and then just do a
Yeah,
new reward, I guess.
yeah. I'll refund and then I'll just go back in whenever you reset it back up.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, it's all a learning experience, I guess. But at this point, it's like I just want to get the book out, right? It's
Right.
you know what it's like. You
Yeah,
just ended your campaign recently, didn't you?
yeah, yeah. Just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. How does that feel?
It feels good to be done. It's so
Yeah.
stressful during the campaigning. It's no fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I've been watching for so long other people go through this whole thing, and I'm on the
Yeah,
sidelines. I'm like, that doesn't look
it's not so
super
bad.
great. John's long box. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, John.
Good.
And Crenshaw.
Just let you know,
Hey,
I
Crenshaw.
dropped my plate, and I'll back again when you fix it. I don't want to screw
Thank
that up.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it happens. It does happen, unfortunately. But
It was so stressful. I had someone make my campaign for me, and then he said, "Before you hit live, check over everything." And I went over everything with a fine tooth comb, and there was still errors. That
it
I'm launching on
happens.
my Bancroft, and I'm fixing things as people. You
yeah,
can't think of everything.
I
You
don't
know.
I don't know if it's a workaround, but when I noticed that the shipping didn't come through, I clicked the change your pledge button, and it offered the ability to add an extra, you know, bonus, whatever,
yeah.
backing, whatever. And
But does that
I
go
just,
to Fabrizio or does that go to Kickstarter?
ooh, good question. I didn't notice that. I just looked at what the price of the what it was supposed to be before it did not add it and typed that in
Yeah.
there. So good question.
You know
All
what I'll
right.
do, Fabrizio? I'll send you PayPal through PayPal. I'll just send you the shipping cost.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna end it right now, and then I'll just do a new reward. I can do it real quick. You guys talk, and just one of
Okay.
you pretend you're me, and for the next 5 minutes.
I do not volunteer. I don't have the brain power.
Yeah, I'm not a good Fabrizio.
I was gonna say, Ben, you're probably the smartest. Go ahead, you.
I am not the smartest. I only fool you guys to thinking that.
That's all.
How are you doing, John? I haven't talked to you in a while. How's it going?
I'm okay. I'm trapped here in the basement, fulfilling my comic. Things are going slow. I don't. Ben, did you fulfill your own comic, or did you have a service?
Yes. No, I'm fulfilling my own, but I really don't have a lot of backers, so it's not anything crazy.
I had a bunch of backers the first time around, but I think I was excited to do it, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And now I'm not complaining, but I think it's just because I'm working this 3 to 11 shift. So when I come home at night,
Oh yeah.
I'm sleepy, but I got to do it.
Mm,
And then when I wake up in the morning, I just have this I got to go to work feeling. I got to, whatever I
right.
do. So like for this week, I'm working a regular shift. So I'll come home from work, have a cup of coffee, and I'll feel like a normal
Right.
person. And then I got 4 days off. So I'm hoping to be done by the end of this week.
That'll be nice. What about you,
Yeah.
Crenshaw? How are you doing?
Doing okay. Just working hard, trying to catch up on life and buying more comics than I should, backing more comics than I should. I got a few recently that showed up, including that one, which I showed, which
Very nice.
got that weird guy on it. I haven't gotten around to reading it yet, or many of the other comics that I got. But yeah. So, how about you? What's going on with you, Ben?
Cool. Not much. I am still coloring mine, trying to get it done. I've got the last 5 pages, and I'm trying to do a little bit of everything. I'll also have to do some rewrites, and yeah, just busy working on the book whenever I get time. And then it's also like the holiday season, so I just got done decorating for Christmas. Our living room. So it's just been busy.
So Crenshaw, for issue number 3, would you want to do a cosplay as Mary Sue for the cover?
Yeah, sure. How about the guy? What was his name? The underground guy.
Oh, the subterranean.
Subterranean. Yeah, I can
Glue
do
some
that.
mushrooms to your face.
Yeah. But speaking of comics I've gotten besides that, I just wanted to show you this one because I'm just. I don't know if you guys know THB, Paul Pope.
No.
Total THB comic.
Paul Pope, yeah.
Yeah. It's his like his series that he started, and it's about I forget what THB stands for, but THB is an android. He's I know the H stands for hydrogen. But anyways, it's about a girl, and she's got her android, and they go on wacky adventures on Mars because Mars is where people live now. And but this is the first volume. I think there's 3 volumes coming out. I'm so excited for this book. I can't wait to get into it.
Oh,
but
cool.
Daniel Warren Johnson's kind of sketchy style that he has.
Right. Yeah.
I'm of the opinion, I have not confirmed it with anybody, that he got that from Paul Pope.
Paul Pope was like a darling around like 2010. Everybody was talking about him. He had a couple of, I think a Vertigo series or an Image series, Heavy Liquid. I think I heard about him.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of disappeared for a while.
Yeah, he had recently a couple of Battling Boy was a newer one that he came out with, and then another one that's tied to Battling Boy, but I haven't really looked into those. But.
So I think I fixed it.
Excellent.
So anybody out there who hasn't backed issue 4, you should go through it and you'll see shipping estimate 5 to 7. And then that's what I got. So if it's not working, let me know. If not, I'm just going to get it. I don't know. Everybody gets a free book. Free books on me.
You're like Oprah. You get a free book. You get a free book.
Well, at least it wasn't the resin model.
Right.
I just
What's that,
read
John?
back and it didn't say anything. I canceled my pledge because I don't want anybody to get screwed. And I just read back that it said, let's see, what does it say? Pledge $10, bonus 0, total $10. And I'm not. Oh, okay. Shipping estimate $5 to $7. Okay, it does say it. Okay,
that's good.
Yeah, you don't want to get screwed.
If not, honestly, it's like it's free books. It's fine.
Okay.
Anyway, so I went to a convention this weekend in DuBois, PA. And it's about half hour from the town I grew up. It's in the middle of PA, right? So somebody told me about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'll go. It's around my hometown. I'll check it out. And hold on here. Dr. Mask. So if I back something else with shipping, that should cover it, right? If it doesn't, I'll fix it, I guess. Right? Like everything you guys buy on the shipping has estimated shipping. And then you bundle it up, right?
Yeah, I threw one of the prints on there, and the shipping said like 13 or 13 or
Yeah,
14.
that's going to be a higher shipping, yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's not a disaster. Anyway. Anyway, so I go to this convention, and it's in the middle of St. Mary's, or the middle of Du Bois, and it was funny because it was actually a really decent crowd, and it's because they don't get anything. This is sort of in the middle of PA. It's not near Pittsburgh. It's not near anything else. And it was probably the most like engaged crowd. Even people that didn't buy it, they were like, "What is this? What is this comic thing you guys are like?" It was a whole like new world, which I thought was pretty interesting. Going to these like Pittsburgh convention stuff, it's like once you go to one, you've seen all of the same vendors in Pittsburgh. So that was kind of an interesting experience for me. Yeah. Anyway.
Cool. I can't
That's
wait
really
to go to a convention, but I always wanted to go when I have more than one issue to sell. Like when you have one issue, people are like, "Ah, that guy's a one-hit wonder. We'll never see him again." But you got two issues. So once I'm done fulfilling, Vaughn Coleman is every weekend he's calling me up. There's a convention like 8 minutes from your house. I'm not going. Now I'll go.
He's out there for sure. I mean, I think I posted this on Twitter too, but I was talking to this anime guy that sells anime merch, and it's funny, like when people walk around conventions, I can tell right away who's going to stop at the table and who's not, almost every time. And the person with the Batman shirt and the Batman hat and the Batman hoodie is not going to. There's no chance, and I do mean zero chance they will stop at my table. I mean, I was at Baltimore Comic Con for 3 days, and I could spot him a mile away. It is like people that might. I mean, it's funny to say this, but people that I could tell are into music. Maybe they're in punk or hard. Like they're just. Maybe they have tattoos. Maybe the shirt is like death metal, like something else, right? There's the potential for them to stop at my table. But outside of that, it really is like this homogenous sort of like people are looking for the trendiest thing. And this guy that sells anime merch, he said it's so trendy that even anime amongst seasons don't sell. So if like you're in the second season, the first season anime stuff isn't going to sell. People are so hyper focused on the trendiest, the most recognizable popular thing. But I think once you get used to it, it's like, it's fine. You kind of get the crowd and you kind of know what to expect.
Isn't that the way it's kind of always? I mean, besides even in comics, just everything. No, to be fair, I do feel like maybe it was just the people I hung out with when I was in high school, but like my stepsons and kids their age, where it's like, is everyone just want the most popular thing right now?
I mean, I didn't when I was growing up. It was just the exact opposite. Yeah. I wanted the band nobody heard of. I wanted
Me and my friends, we were like so into the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but then Blood Sugar Sex Magic came out. I'm like, I don't like this band.
I'm out.
They're mainstream now.
Yeah, we went into a 7-Eleven, and the guy that was always chasing us out at 4:00 in the morning had a Chili Pepper shirt on, and I was like, I think I'm gonna go home and throw my records away.
Yeah, like even when punk became popular, you had to distance yourself immediately because like the normies were talking about punk, and you're like, okay, then no, that's not real punk. Like you had to make sure that you were one like
Blink 182. They're rebel. Yeah. They're rebels. Green Day. Yeah, let's go. Meanwhile, I had to go wash my neck from when Gigi Allen hugged me.
Hey, Dr. Mask, you are definitely not one of those people. So I'm not saying all people with bad. I'm just saying I can usually point them out.
Are you the only one? Ben, have you done conventions?
Yeah, I've done conventions.
See, I haven't done them yet. I'm looking forward to doing it, but like part of me feels like it's the human zoo. Like
kind of is.
You'd be the cutest animal, and hopefully people will come by and feed you a peanut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I guess it depends if you like talking to people. If you don't, it can be kind of brutal, I think.
How do you do it? Are you Mr. Introvert or Mr. Extrovert at the cons?
I like meeting people, but I will say this: I'm not like a used car. Like I won't call people over. That's
Right.
not my thing. But if people show any interest, I'll just chat. Mainly because you got 8 hours to kill, and
Right.
a half-hour chat, and plus if people see somebody at your table, that I think it means it's more likely that somebody else is going to stop because they're like as a con goer there's that dread sometimes where you make eye contact with people and you don't want to. So
Yeah.
if they're occupied talking to somebody else, maybe I can sneak in there and actually see what they're doing and get out of there before, I get pulled into something.
The most embarrassing con experience I ever had was I forget who I was waiting online to see, but the line was so long that I'm standing in front of Colleen Duran's table, and I like a distant sort, and I have every issue, so there's nothing I'm gonna buy at her table, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like looking at the covers, and I'm reminiscing. Oh, I like this, and she's like, "Oh, this is the current issue," and I'm like, I have I'm such a big fan. I have everything already. So, it was just like, I love you. I love all your stuff, but like, I'm not going to buy another issue just because I happen to be in front of you. You could just see her just like, like this guy's coming. Like nobody's coming to my booth because they can't see it because like,
Right.
whoever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, please, let's move this line along. The other one was what's his name? Who played Major Healy on I Dream of Jeannie? That actor, but he was at a con, and everybody's there. George Romero was at this convention. It was so like everybody's at George Romero's booth, and then him, Major Healy, the second banana on I Dream of Jeannie. Not Larry Hagman, not Barbara Eden, the other guy. He's sitting there facing the other way, so he's not making eye contact with anybody, and nobody's at his booth, and he has a cool replica of the Genie bottle, and it's printed in plastic. It says signed by Larry Hagman, signed by Barbara Eden, and then in Sharpie, signed by Major Healy. And he's not thinking, and all I could think of is this is a guy who just took his convention appearance. My contract, I got to be here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want to be the Major Healy. But I could also see, like, I'll go to a convention, I'll talk to everybody, and then forget to sell anything. Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, blah, 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 blah. Thank you for talking. And then the next guy, I'm like, oh, that's another guy. I didn't buy anything because I just talked.
There's a weird thing about selling. Like, when I went to the newsstand and picked out, nobody was selling. Like, it's not like the old lady behind the counter is not like, man, wait till you read this new Spider-Man this week. It's awesome. No, I looked at the covers and that's kind of all you needed.
Right.
So part of me, and maybe it's naive to think like you see the art, you get the concept, and you either buy into it or you don't.
Yeah.
It was actually the opposite of my newsstands. The guy was like, "Are you buying something? Get out!" Like I used to joke. It was called Sven's, and this guy was awful, and he had a huge rack of comics. And as soon as you walked in the store, your stomach started to hurt because you knew it was only a matter of time before Sven came from behind the counter and chased you out. So it's just like,
That's too bad.
I'll get this Micronauts. Sven's like, it's not a library. You pay the money and leave. Like, but that's how much we like comics that we would put up with Sven.
Yeah, Dr. Matt's comment right there. This ain't a library. I've heard that before. Going to a comic shop and flipping through the books. Yeah.
I remember I went into Sven's with comics that I bought at Howie's. Now, Howie's was the opposite. You could stay all day long in Howie's. And I told him, I bought these at Howie's. And he goes, oh, what? And you want to trade them over here? I was like, no, I just didn't want you to think I was stealing. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to do the right thing, Howie. You're making it tough to even do the right thing over here. So my friend had to stand outside with my comics. And then, you know what I mean? And then we had...
So as someone who like as a just a fan, I've never even gotten to go to a convention.
Oh wow.
Oh really?
Yeah, no. There's one here in Boise that's been going for a few years, but it hasn't been convenient for me to be able to make it. And the nearest big one is Salt Lake City. It's like 5-hour drive. So, but what Fabrizio was saying about just assuming that people will kind of see the art and stuff. I understand that because that's kind of how I would approach it, and that's how I approach comics in the first place. But how does it for people who've gone to cons and stuff, and tying in with like streams? Is it helpful to have that connection, like, because people go on streams not just to show their book, which a lot of people, it's just strictly show, but also, people start to begin to like creators, like
Right.
people, and they make that, that parasocial connection, and then they're like, oh, I'll back the. Does that help in cons as well?
As far as I'm concerned, part of me doesn't. I don't say I don't want to know. I don't want to get to know the people, but it doesn't make a difference. I have books from people that all we exchanged. I'll take it. Here's a 20, and then that's it. And I never followed up on a YouTube channel, but I have a cool book. So to me, it's not important. But I don't know.
I would say no. Like the YouTube reach isn't as wide as you think it really is.
Right.
Like, it's just a small population of the comic book fans.
Yeah, but even outside of like comics, moving into like music, you go on TikTok, and bands have their entire TikTok page where they're not just music videos now it's like cute little skits of them doing something funny, or like showing moments of their lives or whatever. And like I follow Billy Corgan on I don't remember which platform, but it's him at Disneyland with like his kids. Not that I am going to buy more Smashing Pumpkin stuff because he's there with his kids and I like the guy, but it might work for people nowadays.
It's funny you mentioned Billy Corgan, because he just came out his new podcast, whatever interview podcast that is, he's doing. And I have to admit, I always hated Smashing Pumpkins, and I never liked Billy Corgan. but yeah, seeing these little clips, it makes me like him a little more. Not like a ton. So it does help. Or I think it can help for sure.
It's funny because I liked Green Day until I saw their personalities. Now it's like I still can't throw away the records, but I don't want to listen to them anymore.
Yeah. What I try to do is, like, during my streams, I try to be as boring as possible. And then when I meet you in person. Yeah, exactly. I have a joke book I pull from underneath the table, and then
he's got roller skates, sparklers, hey! Bow ties spinning around.
Shoot, that's the trick, huh? Because I'm boring both times.
Hey, Fabrizio, I got to run, but I just want to say congratulations on your campaign launch, and
thank you.
Looking forward to the book.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, John Crenshaw, good seeing you guys. See you later.
See ya.
I remember also at a convention, I wanted, because the Frazetta girls were there, and I wanted to look through the Frank Frazetta prints, and I want to buy like a big oversized hardcover book of like all the Frazetta stuff. And they didn't have that specific thing, but I know it exists. So they didn't. So I'm spending a long time looking at this, and they're like talking to me and everything. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Goodbye. Like, I felt like such a heel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you ever deal with that? Like you talk to somebody and they don't buy anything, and you just like, was it me? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I like, as a goer, like, that informs me the things I do at the table. And I think that's maybe a problem. I don't know. Because there's this one guy who I really like his book. His name is Ted Sikora. He has several books. He's from Ohio. Top-notch books. And he basically, like, he pulls people in. But he has a bunch of series, a bunch of books. Like, he has a whole big display. And he's so good at it. Like, I think he just kills. But if I did it, it would feel forced, and I think it would be obviously forced. And I think at that point we would both die of embarrassment for me, and no sales would be made anyway. So I kind of feel like you either can do it or you can't.
Yeah, you had that gift together. Like all I could think of was like when Sam Rockwell came out in Iron Man 3 and he's trying to be Tony Stark.
Yeah. It's funny because like I said, I do like talking to people because I'm just interested in people. This one guy popped up at my table and he gave me a glimpse. Oh, a military family. We moved around a lot. Oh, really? What kind of I'm interested in people's stories, but it's not like I don't tie it back to Horace. It's like, well, did you know? On page 32 of issue 5, hey, Dr. Mask, Mark, how's it going?
Oh, that's what you look like. I've seen you commenting everything for so long, and I've never seen you.
I don't know if we have audio. I think your audio might be off. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I was thinking about what.
I want to go to.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
thanks for popping in.
And for some reason, StreamYard switched over to my other microphone. So, how's it going?
Good.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Congrats on your launch.
I mean, it's like I said, it's funny watching everybody else do it, and then you do it, and you're like, it can't be that hard. Like, people say it's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work getting the graphics, getting all that thing set up.
Yeah, I told my nephew the other day, because he was obviously I'm doing my first book, and I'm like, with all the stuff I'm doing, because I'm working on like putting the Kickstarter together, my Kickstarter campaign, and I'm like, when I get all said and done, and if I sell all the books I'm gonna print, I'll make like 10 cents an hour.
I mean,
You said that because I'm begging and boarding, I'm just like, I don't make a bad wage as an electrician. And right now, I'm probably making like 19 cents an hour, begging and boarding this stuff, watching Tolkien videos on my iPad.
But you know what?
The ring, as I'm begging and boarding to keep myself from going crazy.
You know what? The 10-year-old you is like, yeah, you go, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's something about comics that that's just different than every other medium. And I don't just mean like the actual physical medium. I mean the community and the people that like the kind of person that likes comics on top of it. That it's a fulfillment of like the first time you ever picked up a comic. It's like, it's so amazing and extraordinary. And then later on you learn, wait a minute, I can do that. I can contribute to that whole thing.
It's all I want to talk about. Now just imagine being on a construction site and everybody wants to talk about their cars, their kids, the Jets, the Giants, the Super Bowl. And I'm just like, I made a comic book. And everybody's and then goes back to work.
Yeah, my wife has a lifelong friend. They grew up together, but he's into the nerdy stuff too. And a few months ago, he came to visit, and before the night's over, we're in my room on our knees like kids, and I'm like digging through my boxes, showing him all the like the indie comics I've got and explaining, and it's just yeah. And he called last night, and he's showing me he lives oh man, I forget where he lives back. I think he lives in Texas, but he calls just to show me his board games, his comic boxes, like. It's my wife's over here like, you guys are dorks, but we're having fun.
I have a childhood friend, Allison. We grew up in the neighborhood. Been friends since I can't remember. Not being friends. And then she went away to college. I went away to college. She ended up getting married, and then I meet her husband, and he's like into heavy metal, into comic books, into board games stuff. Like I'm just looking. Me and him talked just today, and I can't even find the last time I talked to Allison. And she's just like we're at the house talking about comic books and board games, and she wasn't even in the house. She went shopping, and she comes back like, I'm glad to see that my husband and my childhood friend are getting along. And I go, Allison, you're interrupting.
Yeah, that's one of the first things my wife told me was, don't steal my friend. Last night we're making plans because he's planning on moving back here into town. I'm like, we need to do some sort of podcast.
Yep. Yeah. It's fun. Yep.
Yeah.
I had to say too, Fabrizio, I had a problem with my campaign. Like you say, you go through all this stuff, and somebody's hitting me up, and they're like, "Hey, I'm trying to back the 3 books, but it won't let me." I'm like, "Huh." So I looked at it, and I had chosen U.S. territories instead of United States. So if you lived in the United States, you couldn't back it. It's just like,
Yeah.
Puerto Ricans getting it.
Poe is huge in Puerto Rico. Yeah, I also don't stress about stuff. Like, I have a day job, I have a full-time job. This is fun. I want to get the book out. I want people to read it. It'll work out. The campaign will be up for 45 days. So I'm pretty relaxed. It would take a lot for me to get like too freaked out. Even if things went awry and shipping got messed up, I get fixed somehow. So I'm trying to look at that as a fun thing because I don't want to be stressed out for 44 days, through the holidays.
well, somebody told me years.
God, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say somebody told me years ago that a crowdfunder was like going off the war. Hopefully, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I
But I'm
started my campaign on a Friday, and that's Sunday. My wife said, "We're going out to breakfast. We got to get you away." Because all I was doing was refresh. And if I wasn't sitting on my computer, I heard the dings on my phone. Somebody backed. She said, "Leave your phone at home. Let's go out, and we're not even going to talk about." And she was right. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to get this book, get this crowdfunder going, and then see what happens from there. I'm pretty flexible on issue 5 and moving forward, but
So, real quick, I heard you mention earlier the paper on the single issues is it a glossier paper than because I got the trade.
yeah, it's not gloss. None of them are gloss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it just like a thicker stock?
It's the trade is a little thinner. Yeah.
All right. Because I was like, man, if it's a better quality, I might want to grab those 3 issues on them besides issue 4.
Yeah. I mean, I like the trade. So it's one of those deals like what do I push people to? And honestly, I like them both. One just feels a little more, premium, but I like the trade. For me, my biggest issue with trades are they're so big, the paper stock is so thick that it's hard to bend it. So I think this is like the perfect size where it doesn't feel like it feels very easy to read. And that's such a weird critique, but yeah, like little things like that kind of bug you. You're so used to reading certain paper, certain pages. I'm reading this one book. It's like a throwaway fiction book, but it's a print-on-demand book, and the spacing between the letters, the leading, all that stuff is just off enough where it's brutal to read it. It just feels off. And I'll never buy another like fiction on demand from this company again because the way that it was. So little things like that can kind of add up, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have a crowdfunded book that I bought, and I was so excited about it. It was like a kind of noir type, whatever, and it had some cool art. And I got it, and I read like 2 pages. The lettering was so horrible, I couldn't even read it.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I did get it. Yeah, I backed a book, and I don't know what happened in the process, but the layouts of the page there was about I don't know, almost 2-inch top and bottom on the margin, and the page was just smashed down. Yeah, that threw me off. So it's just
Somebody messed up.
Yeah.
Because probably they sent the files to the printer wrong, and then the printer's like, "Well, we're not fixing it. You screwed up."
Yeah.
Yeah, getting those proofs, I think, like right now, proofs are being printed, and they should be sent to me shortly. So I'd like to think I'm ahead of the game, but with the holidays, who knows? And it's
or a must. You have to get a physical proof.
yeah, it's the
100%.
same thing. You check it a million times, you get it, and there's like a tiny white strip at the top, or something. But yeah, yeah. Is there anything else? So the one thing I glossed over it a little bit, but I just want to get your thoughts, and I'm not fishing for compliments on this, not that much at least. The magnet set I thought was like a funny.
That is a great idea.
Okay,
I love
okay.
that idea.
Yeah, that is.
It's such a brilliant idea. I'm amazed that other people haven't done it yet.
Yeah,
John's doing it on this next campaign.
Oh,
I think it would be great to make sure they're all the same scale. So you have a bunch of books with,
Oh, that'd
with
be
the same,
awesome.
yeah, and then you can mix
Yeah.
and match. Like Horace is, I think that would be cool. So like
And how
cross
about this?
campaigns.
make white lines so you can make your own comic panels.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember those
Color forms.
Color
Yeah, color
forms.
forms.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
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 But you have like a cityscape for one issue, and then the next issue like a Marsscape, the next issue like a Lovecraftscape or that library, and then
Yeah.
put white lines on it so you can make panels.
Yeah.
Yeah, just reuse that. Yeah, reuse artwork from the book, like you said, the library would be perfect.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, I think it would be funny because you could have like, a character from your book, John, and then you just right next to Slurp, like talking, It's
Right.
like this sort of, I think that'd be funny. So anyway,
Yeah, that'd be rad. Have a few guys do their characters and just on the fridge.
yeah.
You just got
create
all
your
these-
own crossover. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
And as a game for like whatever, you pay $5-10 extra and they write their own word balloon and you make a word, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
so you can have like Crenshaw wrote a word balloon of just whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Something like that, whatever, and then
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my word balloon.
That's a rad idea though, because like I put the sticker add-ons because one of my favorite things in all of the add-ons that people do is the stickers.
Oh, really?
I just for me, I got my hold on, I'm missing stuff up.
Oh, you got a Trapper Keeper.
Oh, that's cool.
It's my iPad cover, and I just loaded up with whatever. I got Band of the Crow there. I got
Nice.
Narwhal's new Purr's new comic sticker there. So I just that I like sticking my stickers on everything.
That's cool.
Refrigerator over here. It's like 10 years old. It's just covered with all crowdfunded stickers. And last night my wife was like, that just made a noise. Your stickers might be going in the garbage soon. I made
You
sure
ever-
to buy like the least fancy refrigerator because the simplest things last the longest.
yeah,
10 years on a refrigerator, I don't know.
yeah.
It's starting to sound like I do when I get out of bed.
I have a fridge behind my basement bar that has crowdfunding stickers and magnets on it. So
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't do I'm going to be honest. I like to keep my place very austere. And so I don't like a lot of clutter. I don't do a lot of that kind of stuff. So I need to find,
I don't like
Kinda like-
clutter either.
yeah, kind of like the iPad thing, but maybe just like a white poster board and then just put all the stickers on that and then frame that or something like that.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
I do have a long box just filled with like most of the extra stuff that I get from crowdfunding books. Like, most of the stuff I don't really have a use for. Like funny because I asked for a refund and I got a refund, but I still got the latest Your Boy Zach's book. What am I going to do with this poster? I'm not going to.
Yeah.
So there's just like a box full of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Stick it in the fridge. Everything else goes in this box. And I keep saying one day. And then every once in a while I find that box and I'm like, oh, wow, I forgot all about this.
I started leaving the mini prints right in the bag and board with the comic.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
a lot of now, like bookmarks will be in the back behind. So if you turn it over, you see the backing board, and then you'll see all the bookmarks.
Yeah.
Again, for me, bookmarks is the one thing that I use. I'm always in need of a bookmark. So, but that could be a personal thing. Some people are like, I don't need a freaking bookmark. Like I use a receipt from the gas station. Like, why do I need like this printed bookmark?
I always have at least like 6 or 7 books with bookmarks in them on my shelf. And I was looking today and I'm like, oh, look at these bookmarks. And I looked and I still have like 10 bookmarks sitting there. I'm like, that's a lot of bookmarks.
My Joey Lawrence bookmark. I've had this Joey Lawrence bookmark since like 1991. And
Wow.
it's my primary bookmark that I use for the book that I'm reading at the time. So I must have put it in another book. And then I have secondary bookmarks. But
Does it say "whoa" on it?
Says "whoa" on it.
Whoa. I have a bookmark, probably 30 years old too. I don't know if I beat you though, John. It's a metal bookmark with like a ribbon. It's a very fancy one that I think I got at Walden Books, and it says, "The best books make the best friends," or something like that.
Yeah.
So if I'm reading a book and my wife approaches me and starts talking, I just take the bookmark and I just hold it out to her to read. She's like, funny, you know.
Way to go. I can't find my Joey Lawrence bookmark.
Jeez. Have you thought about that, Fabrizio, doing a metal bookmark? Or I know some guys have done that.
Yeah, I actually haven't thought about doing a metal one. That seems pretty, like that's a whole avenue I haven't done anything with. You know, I've done 3D printing and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, nothing with metal. I've never done anything with that.
They're pretty cool. I mean,
Well, I did this. This is metal. I got this printed.
Oh, nice.
wow.
I mean, it's kind of pricey. I didn't put it on this campaign, but like, if anybody's interested, I could send you the
That's
website.
cool.
But you know, like in order to make any money, it's $65. So I don't even know if but I did this for myself. You know, but I just love this. Like you could scratch it off and you could see that it's metal underneath. Not that I'm going to
That's cool.
do it, but I really like the quality. I'm really happy with it. But is anybody interested in this? Like this is oversized. You can see this is a comic book.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah, that's a cool idea. Isn't that disc plate or something?
Square signs, I think, was where I got it from.
Yeah, I like the idea of metal like that. So you just put magnets on the wall, right? And it just
Yeah,
yeah, that's a cool
I
idea.
will say, well, when I go to cons, a lot of what I hear is, you know, they sell like a lot of the independent guys are like, hey, if you can do it, have a hardcover on your table, because people will spend $25-$30 and not even think about it because it's a hardcover. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's hard to believe, but yeah, apparently that's the case.
Yeah, I do think that people, if they're going to buy it, they're going to buy it. You know, the previous versions of my book were $2, and my books, much more expensive, $8. There was no change in sales.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think people, if they're going to buy it, they're going to buy it. I think $2 as opposed to $8. $8 is a cup of coffee and a half nowadays. So it's like, I think people
and they're
are
at a comic convention, so these people they like comics. They want comics.
yeah.
They came to spend money, you know.
And a regular comic, a Marvel or DC, what are they at? $5 now?
Yeah, $5.
So $8 from the guy who made it is fine, I think. You know.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about writing a little bit, just because this is the end of an arc for me, and I was trying to think of like, you know, what kind of stuff have I learned in 4 issues. Obviously, I've learned a lot. If I haven't learned anything, then that's a problem. But it's like you spend a lot of time watching movies, reading books, reading comic books. and you have like this fuzzy idea of what makes a good story, and like a really fuzzy idea of what makes character. But until you put pen to paper, like it's not like codified. It's not like it's not real. And I think for me, four issues into it, and I definitely feel like pacing, like really controlling pacing, is like the kind of like the end of the line. Because you can get characters, you can introduce characters, you can introduce worlds, you can do all of that stuff to really tightly control pacing. I think is a very difficult thing. And to me, I feel like that was the last kind of like the last thing I reached for in this book, and I feel like I did it. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I agree with you. There's a couple of people whose comic off the line, off air, they didn't want to say anything to me, but they're like, I like all your stuff, but your pacing is a little off, And I'm like, it's something I hadn't even considered. So now I'm like super aware of it. Like, is it just something that you have to figure out on the way? I don't think that's something that you can be school taught.
Isn't it also though, just a matter of taste? Because classic, let's say Bronze Age comic pacing is super fast. They're just like,
Right.
here's the situation. Now they're fighting someone, and now it ends. Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
And then you get into like your, more independent, your darker, like let's Stray Bullets, let's say, where it's paced like a slow burn like film. And I personally prefer the kind of a slower pace in a lot of my stuff. Like,
Yeah, I agree. And if I ever get to be monthly, I would do a slower pace. But I feel like I did one comic last year, and well, now I did two because this one squeaked in. So I did 80 pages in a calendar year. I can't afford to do a slow pace yet, but I do agree. Yeah. I would like to spend more time. Mom, I'm trying to do a family comic, and there's 7 kids in the family. I would like you guys to know the names of the children, their personality quirks, but until I can pick up the pace, I think you'd rather see a monster with laser beams and stuff like that than mom and dad having a heart-to-heart talk with the little girl who skinned her knee. So I do agree, but it's a matter of economic. And then I also can't help but think of this page cost me this much money.
Yeah.
This page, because I'm paying an artist, I'm paying the colorist, I'm paying everybody. Does this page need to be in there? Does this help the story?
I definitely think as you introduce characters, like, I mean, we're 4 issues in with Horace. I mean, I think people know Horace. Like, they might not know his origins, but they know the character. So I don't need to devote time to build that. That'll come naturally. It'll come when other things happen, and it'll present itself. But I don't need to. I'm like, okay, I really need to show that Horace isn't an evil guy, and I have to add some scene. So yeah, like unfortunately, I'm doing it all. I'm 4 issues in, but as we introduce characters, and it's almost like there's a pin in a character. I'm like, okay, I know what Slurp is like now, so I know what this character's like. So now I can introduce a brand new character, and the world builds. I don't know what I was trying to get at exactly, but yeah, I mean, I like slower pace too, I think. But here, and maybe this is more of a question for everybody, and I don't know if it's subjective or not, but how much action does a comic need to have? Does it need to have any action?
I was just gonna ask that. Like, you were talking about introducing characters, but how much of that is during some sort of fight scene or some sort of, is there a difference between the pacing of action scene that needs to happen every few pages, or a slow, just conversations and
I think a character like Horace H. Hoover, you could get along without as much like fight scenes and stuff like that, because he's an occult detective, and then the world itself is so fantastic. Like my character, the patriarch, he's a superhero. Like, you don't want to see him not fighting. That's the whole purpose of super. But but again, like I wrote a story that Ron Mosicki is drawing. It's a Batman type character going after serial killer. It's just nonstop violence. It's and I'm like, I cannot believe how. So I actually asked Ron, "Do you want to back out of the story?" And he's like, "No, the violence fixed the story." And then I have another story. It's like kind of sweet and people talking, but so I don't know. There's no end all be all, but man,
Yeah.
When you do a fight scene, I'm trying to think, like, does it need to be 4 pages long? Like, so I'm trying to come up with like a clever tactic every time there's a fight scene. Like Patriarch number 1, he's telekinetic, so he does something pretty clever on the second page. I'm like, otherwise, if he didn't do that clever thing, it's just punching back and forth. And then I decide the fight's over, because really think about it. Batman punches the Joker. If I don't want the fight to end, the Joker stands up and fights again, and then Joker punches Batman, and then Joker, back and forth until I, as the writer, decide that the Joker is defeated. So it really doesn't need to be that long, because we all know the Batman's going to win. So I'm stressed now trying to come up with something clever or interesting, and that's as long as the fight needs to be, until it's no longer clever or interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I was going to say, I think the problem now with comics is that we've gone too far the other way, where, I think a specific issue of Batman is what basically got me to stop buying modern comics, as far as, DC and Marvel, because it was the 3/4 of the issue was John Constantine sitting with Catwoman talking over coffee, and I'm like, that's, I'm looking at, not to, sound like the old guy, get off my lawn kind of thing. But it's like, if you go back and you look at Kirby, like Fantastic Four or whatever, you open the book, there's action going on. While the action going on, they're explaining what's going on, right? Because you're being dropped right into it. They're like, hey, this happened, that happened, while they're doing whatever is going on. And they don't need like just pages of them standing around talking.
Yeah, I mean, I try to think about some of my favorite comics, and I'm like, do they talk a lot? Like, even when I go back and revisit some of my favorite books, I am surprised at how much talking there is that I didn't notice. and even as a young kid, some reason it didn't bother me. But then again, a writer from 1985 is not the same writer as, 2000 or 2005 or 2010. I do agree with the punching thing, John, because like the big sort of action scene in Horus H. number 4, I had to come up with something clever. It had to have all of the story arc beats inside the action itself. So 3 arc action scene. So it's like a little mini story inside the action scene. That's how I approached it, because you're right. When am I just going to have them like just all 3 punching for a prescriptive number of pages and then it's over? Like it.
And then I, as the writer, decide that the villain has been defeated.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what you were saying about like how much talking dialogue, John's been going through some of the X-Men stuff on Sunday mornings, and how many word balloons, how much dialogue is in those comics is shocking on a certain level. But I think it just comes down to how well it carries the story forward. Because then you look at one of my favorites for like my personal favorites for timing, that when I first started really noticing it, is Mignola and Hellboy. After the first arc where Byrne wrote it, but when Mignola took over, and his pacing in on his pages is, to me, some of the most perfect for his genre, like the horror genre, where he'll have a whole page of just Hellboy walking through some ruins, and there's a picture of a bird on a tombstone, and then more Hellboy just kind of strolling, maybe sliding down a hill, and then another picture
random
of a statue.
statue.
Yeah, but and there's no dialogue until he meets something, and it's basically one thing of him saying like, "Oh hell," but
Yeah.
it all carries the mood and the story forward for so it's just a matter of is it carrying the story forward
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Do you think that because it's horror? Because I feel like horror in comics is different than horror in a movie because you need to kind of set the stage, create that atmosphere in the comic, which is, I don't want to say it's easier in a movie, but it's obviously more obvious of what you're doing in a movie.
I know
Yeah.
Mike Baron doesn't like a lot of dialogue in a fight scene, and who the hell am I to argue with Mike Baron?
It's true.
But I do think that like each panel in itself is not a snippet of time. That we read a comic book panel in a Z pattern. We also read a page in a Z pattern. We also read a panel in a Z pattern. You know what I mean? So Fabrizio's over here and he says, "Hey John, how you doing?" And I'm over here and I go, "I'm okay." Obviously, those two words didn't happen at the same time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we instinctively understand it. Hey, how you doing? I'm okay. There's enough time. So even when I throw a punch, I'm thinking, "Don't you come near me. Don't you come near me." And that's all, we're filling in the blanks because we don't have. So I think there's room for dialogue and during fights and stuff. And like Capshaw said, like you read an old Chris Claremont comic, that's like a 45-minute to an hour commitment. You read a Brian Michael Bendis Avengers, you could dry your hair as you flip through the pages.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you're paying more. And then he would be like, "Well, you're supposed to look at the picture." Let's be realistic. How, I'm not studying the comic. I want to read the story.
Yeah. My thing is, and this is totally, and maybe it's totally subjective. I need, okay, so if a comic only takes me 6 minutes to read,
Right.
I haven't sat with it long enough to I don't know what a term. It's almost like hitting REM sleep. Like it just hit the surface of my brain in my unless something extraordinary happens in those 5 minutes. I need to like 10, 20, 15, 20 minutes and really get something for me to even take anything away from it. Because if not, I'll read it and I'll walk away and I'll never think about it again. So I think there really is something to that. Like you need to sit with something for a bit. It's not even like if a song was 15 seconds long, and I know there are songs that are 15 seconds long. Is that the same thing as an 8-minute song or a 7-minute song? No. So that's my thing. Now, admittedly, Horace H. Hoover, he says a lot of stuff. And if it was another character, maybe I would approach it differently. But there's going to be dialogue, and if people don't want it, that's this kind of book. I could be writing a different kind of book. I could be writing The Punisher or something with like really like terse language. But
So
I'm sorry.
no worries. So then here's a question. I don't know how much then does characterization. So Horace H. Hoover is a fairly verbose guy. How much of your characters determines your pacing then? Because Horace is such a talkative guy. But to me, when I was reading it, it didn't slow down the pace of the book at all. It was very much in tune with what the feeling that I'm assuming you were trying to get across.
I love his word balloons are my favorite part of the comic. I love his dialogue.
Yeah. For me, pacing comes down to panels per page. So a page with 3 or 4 panels is just going to move quicker. Even if I have 10 panels a page, even if the total words is the same, it's going to slow down the pacing because you're just, it's like beats in the song. It's going to slow you down. So even if, like I said, even if the total verbiage is the same, it's still going to slow you down. So I have some pages that are 8, 10 panels long. So I really cram a lot of stuff in there. And then I have, double page spreads and, full page spreads, full page images.
I got Fabrizio's permission to Horace H. Hoover's in 2 panels of Heroic Tales 2.
Yes.
And I submitted his dialogue, and it was a lot of fun to write. So for Fabrizio's like, but it wouldn't fit. It would cover up the art. So even though it's still a big water balloon, it's still a big word balloon. Just keep in mind the original was and it was so fun.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, I love seeing Horace pop up in places. So far, he's been in John's book a few places. I love seeing fan art of your character. Seeing that, and you guys have
Awesome.
both seen that. That's so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah, I'm in awe of that because it's like somebody took time out of their day when they could be doing anything else.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have some skills and decided to draw your character. You know.
Yep. Actually, speaking of which, let me throw your link in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll hit you up, man. Maybe I can work Horace in the next issue. That would be awesome. I'm just thinking of a silhouette of him standing near a bookcase reading a book. You know?
That'd be, like in the background, that'd be funny.
Yep.
I think Easter eggs. I mean, I cram my books with the Easter eggs so much so that
Yeah.
the main book that the book bug carries is a real book. It's called the Codex Gigas. It's a giant, famous, old, ancient book. I don't mention it in the comic book at all, though. It's not in there at all. But if you know old books, you might actually recognize it. And then just Google Codex Gigas.
Yeah,
Do you watch a
I know
YouTube
that
channel
book.
called Esoterica?
I used to. It's been a long time, but yeah, he has great information.
Yeah, I just discovered that because I was doing research on Gnosticism. It's going to play a part in the supervillain. I'm going to have a Gnostic supervillain, and then that came on, and now I have an hour commute to work and an hour commute back, and I listened to that guy, and then I just approached him to see if he'd want to come on my channel, you know. And it's funny because his hobbies are Dungeons, Dragons, heavy metal, and I was like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
So this is one of the sample pages. Yeah, this here is the Codex Gigas. It's a giant, old, famous book. If anybody's interested in.
Is that the one with the devil?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've looked at that book online. I'm like, it's insane.
It's a cool story. Highly just check it out. I've known about it for a long time. Again, I'm kind of a weirdo about old books. I'm obsessed, but it's fairly popular now. Kind of like the Voynich manuscripts, John. I know that's another old famous book. There's Easter eggs about the Voynich manuscripts in just little like Easter eggs. But I
It's in
cram.
Heroic Tales 2. One of the guys is reading it. He's just sitting on a
Yeah,
bench
it's
reading
so
it.
fun. I'll share this just because I thought it was fun. So if anybody grew up in the 80s and played the Marvel Superheroes RPG,
Yep.
Or D&D.
yeah, well this is based on the Marvel game. So I did a fake, essentially Horace H. Hoover expansion box for the game, and there's actually Easter eggs in this. So if you read it closely, there's some things that you will discover, you know, just based on this kind of stuff here. And if you look closely, there's like character sheets and maps. So I have the map of Horace H. Hoover's library. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's fun.
I don't want to show too much, but here's the colored version of that one page. I'll just share a few of these. Anyway, I'm very excited about this just because you'll see there's a lot of new characters, a lot of new locations, and I think that's pretty much all I will show. I think I'll call it.
Yeah,
Is
I
this
don't
one
know
the same? Is this the same length as the other ones, or is it a little longer? Or?
It's a little longer. It's 38 pages.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. There's like 87 people watching. I don't know. John, yeah, actually, let me get your link in there.
Oh, cool.
I was gonna say you're talking about the Easter eggs and stuff. You should make a list of them for one of your like a card or a bookmark, so people can go through and look at all your Easter eggs through the Horace Hoover comics.
Yeah, you know, I've thought about that. I started documenting them because I hit a certain point where I was starting to forget them. And I'm like, no, like, I'm getting to that age. I'm getting to the Murtaugh age, right? So I just put Heroic Tales in the chat if anybody's interested.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
John's book, which is a lot of fun, and there will be a magnet sent across.
Horace is in both issues so far. He's in a billboard. Because I talked to Fabrizio and Brian Bow, who does Wolf and Batsy, and I said, just as a lark, would it be okay if in the background, sooner or later, they're going to realize that like all my friends, all the crowdfunded comic books are people that are like they're cartoons in that like the Patriarch's children watch. So
awesome.
He hallucinates in this issue, and the cartoon characters give him advice, and then there's some characters that he doesn't recognize, and that's going to be a story in itself because they really exist. They're not cartoon like from her. Horace H. Hoover is a cartoon character,
Yeah.
but Tonic Bowl's characters really exist.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea of crossing over stuff and referencing things, and it just makes everybody's books feel bigger. I mean, I was thinking about as a joke, but not as a joke. I'm the only human being that liked D-Man from Marvel. Remember that character? He was like a cross between Daredevil and Wolverine.
Oh yeah,
I found the costume. Yeah.
Right,
yeah,
total like
Daredevil original costume basically.
Total throwaway character. Even in the comic, they made fun of him. It was like, but this weird thing happens where, but he's with Captain America, and there's like this weird legitimization that happens, like as soon as they introduce a character, but he's surrounded by characters that for a long time. It just becomes part of the world, and D-Man is like a character, like Darkhawk or one of those later characters they tried to introduce.
Sleepwalker.
Yeah, but you pair him up with another character, and it just makes the world bigger.
I love Sleepwalker. I don't.
Really?
I love the whole. Like I have Luke Stone's drawing a story called The Sleeper Agent, and he has similar powers. He could go to sleep and he could project himself into your dreams, and then you can find out what's ailing you through your dreams. But he doesn't look. He just looks like a regular guy. But then in his dream, he looks like a dashing superhero. But in real life, he's a scrawny guy. Why not? I mean, if you can dream like that, you're gonna dream yourself cool looking.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like as a kid too, it just made everything feel huge. Like seeing characters pop into other books. That was the most exciting thing. If you're buying, I don't care what book it was, Daredevil and Wolverine pops in, or vice versa. That was just like. It's like an extra treat or something, 2 for 1 or something.
It seemed to be their modus operandi at that time, though, because it was like you get a new series and like, okay, issue 3 or issue 4, it's going to be Wolverine, it's going to be the Punisher, it's going to be somebody is going to jump in here.
Well, back in the 70s and the 80s, it didn't happen as often as you think, so it was a big deal.
Yeah,
like all of a sudden, Spider-Man meets Daredevil, you're like, oh, I got to get this issue. This something big is gonna. Now it's like, it's almost like why bother having individual comics? Because Wolverine in every comic, Spider-Man should not be an Avenger. I'm sorry, get off my lawn.
Yeah, right.
I always think about the one Spider-Man where Captain Britain pops in for an issue, and it was so like I love Captain Britain, old Captain Britain. Love it. It's one of my favorite character designs. I know like most people don't agree with me on that. But it was like exotic. There was this Captain Britain guy, he pops in. I would be remiss if we didn't talk about Phantasm. Crenshaw watched Phantasm. And
oh, yeah.
So, John, are you a fan of the movie Phantasm? Do you know it?
I've never seen it, believe it or not.
Oh, really? Oh, man. All right. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it.
You can talk about it. That's fine.
No, it's okay.
I gotta go anyway. I gotta work in the morning, so I gotta go to bed.
Oh man. All right. Well, thanks for joining.
Yeah. I want to support your book.
Thank you so much.
I can't wait. It's one of my favorite books. Like I said, when I got a bundle of books, and one day I just got Horace H. Hoover, Wolf and Betsy, and T-Bird and Throttle like on the same day. That was like one of the greatest days for comic books in my life. Each one of those books was so good. And like I didn't know who you were. I didn't know who Brian was, and I kind of knew who Josh Howard was. You know, he was, you know, he did Dead at 17. But oh man, that was a great day for comic books. And I reached out to all three of you guys. I commissioned work. Help. I talk to Brian and Fabrizio every day. You know, we chat, bounce ideas off each other. So yeah, I love this book. I want nothing but success for you. I want 100 issues.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You've been like a huge backer since the beginning, reviewing the book in the beginning, having me on. So thank you so much.
Yeah. I mean, I want everybody's comics to succeed. You know, Dr. Mask, if you want to come on and talk comics, you know, I know you got a comic I didn't know. I just found out now. Come on, because I want everybody to just comics. We need more comics. You know, the world is only better with comics, and why not? There's enough money to go around. You know, Horace H. Hoover can make $100,000. That doesn't take anything away from me. You know, and then maybe someday Fabrizio will go, hey, get this guy's comic too. You know.
Yeah.
I don't understand the jealousy, the infighting, and all this nonsense going on. It's supposed to be about fun monster guys.
Waste of energy.
Yeah, like our day jobs are already not fun.
Right.
See ya.
Thanks,
But
John.
that's my rant before I go. See you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
luck. How do I get out of here now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how long you guys want to hang on. I'll probably be bailing here in a minute. Anything you guys want to talk about? I'm always.
Let's ask Dr. Mask. Have you seen Phantasm, and how do you feel about it? If you have.
I saw it like a year ago for the first time. I remember it, and I remember enjoying it. I don't know if I was super like paying attention when I watched it. I don't know, but
it could be one of those things you watch as a kid, and then later on it doesn't have the same impact. I get that for sure.
I mean,
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, you know, the whole. I mean, I just don't remember exactly the whole premise, how it started. And then I just remember the whole ball thing and the
ball,
weird rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I watched it. Was it 2 weeks ago now? With Nick Patch, who's got the comic. Oh shoot, what's his comic? Did you hear that sneeze? That was my wife. He's got the comic, The Cursed Continent. I can't remember his main character's name, but anyways, yeah, he's got a comic coming out. I hope he doesn't watch this because I should remember.
You're blanking on it.
He was on. We had both watched it for the first time and kind of went through it, reviewed it, and I really enjoyed it, despite thinking it's not a good movie. It hit me on a couple of levels. I really like certain levels of bad movies, and it got me there. So I was like enjoying that. And then on the other level, where it does have cool ideas, it does have really, really great cinematography. I enjoyed a whole lot of the shots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't tell anyone not to watch it ever. I watch that all the time. All
right. Yeah, it's one of those older movies that just, like you said, had some original, like pretty cool ideas. And I think we're lacking that so much, that those old movies, they kind of like float to the surface because you don't realize how original it was until a lot of time goes by and we're stuck in 20 years of sort of like rehashing and rebooting. And it's like, man, some of those old movies that took a chance on, I don't know, let's have a floating sphere that goes into your, I'm like, you know, I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. Roy Beckwith and The Cursed Continent is Nick Patch's page comic. And also Tim Olson, who's got Melvin is his comics, but he joined us to talk about it as well. But Nick did not like it at all, and he did not enjoy it at all. Tim, you know, he hadn't watched it as recently, but he's like, I remember enjoying it. But there was a couple of really great shots. Like the guy who directed it, not good at directing the actors, not good
Right.
at directing story, but his shots were a lot of them were really nice. Do you remember the scene where the kid's walking through town and the tall man
Yes.
is starts and the music, the footsteps, everything's like slow motion, just beautiful.
Yeah, like all of like I think honestly, so whether it's Phantasm or something Wicked This Way Comes, there's all these movies that honestly, and books or whatever, but it's like when you start making stuff, you have like just a sliver of each of that stuff in your head. And maybe it is just a shot, or maybe it's just like an atmosphere or like a piece of dialogue or something. And I just think you really appreciate it later on how much it did affect you. Something Wicked This Way Comes is a great movie. I think, did you, I don't know, I can't, you were going to watch it or maybe you didn't get a chance to.
I still need to, yeah.
It's a great movie, and I rewatched it for the first time in like 35 years. And it was funny because when it came out, I think I was 6 or 7 or something like that, right?
It's on TV, right?
Yeah, I was watching it like I think on HBO,
Okay.
but
For some reason, I thought it was a made-for-TV thing, but maybe it wasn't.
maybe it was. I'm watching it, in retrospect, and I'm like, this movie basically has all of the things that I have grown to just love. The fall, the atmosphere, the books, the library stuff. And it really, I'm like, I wonder if that's where I got this love for all of that kind of stuff. Because this movie has all of it. Like every aspect of the things that I've been maybe trying to recreate, So it's funny how those old things just kind of pop up later on.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Are you a Ray Bradbury fan or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I've read a decent amount of his stuff. I think he's a really good writer, but I will say a but in this. Some of his short stories, he does like weird little things. Like he'll kind of, I think he'll try to make it like surreal. Like he does occasionally in some of his short stories try to do something that I don't think he quite attains with some of the dialogue. But that's but overall, I think he's a great writer. Great stuff.
Yeah, he's up there for me. Yeah. I love his stuff. And
Yeah.
I've discovered over the years, I don't know if I talked about it with you because I've been in so many streams recently, but short stories are just my thing, I mean, I can sit down and read a long book, but it takes me forever. Short stories are just, they resonate more with me, and I can, I feel like I'm getting more for my money,
Really?
kind of thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. When it comes
More
to
stories is better.
I know, but like it depends who we're talking about. So I think, for example, your book is about Poe. I think Poe, you're right. I think you get more bang for your buck. But there's a lot of short story writers, and maybe this is where the weird fiction comes in. Whereas weird fiction is a lot's left unsaid. It's kind of vague on, exactly what caused it. So you're kind of left with this unfinished feeling sometimes. So that's where I feel like, I don't know, too many weird fiction stories in a row. And I'm like, did I get any closure? It's like a J.J. Abrams series or something.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's terrible. Well, I mean, we talked about, you did the piece for the Oval Portrait, and we talked about that story, and then I sent you. I'm assuming you read it, but I sent you the original version that he put out.
Yep.
And he had put this whole thing in about this guy doing, some kind of drugs and stuff, and I'm just like. And it makes the whole story just like, okay, was it just a dream? So I'm so happy he took that out.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a superior story the way it is,
Yeah, it's funny. Like, Lovecraft gets blamed for trying to ape Poe, but man, he doesn't really do a good job of it. Like if he's trying, maybe there's a few stories where I think he pulls atmosphere, but that's it. Fall of the House of Usher is rats in the walls, no doubt. There's a couple of stories, but outside of that, I don't think there's much to the language. But Poe is still infinitely better at language than Lovecraft. There's some really great Lovecraft turns of phrases, but not like Poe.
I got turned on to was it Arvid Nelson, Band of the Crow. He had a post talking about a book. He said, this is best sci-fi, best cosmic horror, whatever. Have you heard of The Nightland by William Hope Hodgson?
I know that author.
It is a super, super interesting book. Like he wrote it in an archaic, like almost old English, lots of thous, whilsts, super. And I would say it almost makes it like Pilgrim's Progress. If you've ever read that, it's almost the exact same tempo as the Pilgrim's Progress, but it's like when did he? I forget. He wrote it, I think, in the 20s. So it's not. It's it's definitely even for his time it was archaic language.
Yeah.
But it makes it feel more real, like you're reading something that somebody wrote who shouldn't have known about these sorts of ideas. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
It does make it feel like, is this is deeper, like this is
Yeah.
but super, super interesting. It does drag a little when there's some romance stuff in it, and it drags a little there, but so far I'm like loving this.
I mean, romance, there's nothing bad. There's nothing wrong with romance, I think just got to be mixed with stuff.
Well, I mean, when there's a continual, and in a naughty way, she turned to me, and her, like, I don't know,
Her
okay.
mounds.
But yeah, no, it's super. It's really, it's like sort of time travel.
Interesting.
The story begins with the guy talking about him falling in love with a woman, and how they met, they get married or whatever. Not to give spoilers, but she passes away at the end of the first chapter, and then immediately it goes into him having a dream in which he's millions of years into the future, and he remembers everything about the time that he's in, but he also has a full memory of living 17 years in this future world.
That's
So
interesting.
he has full knowledge of what's happening there in the Great Pyramid where they live, and all the world is the Nightland. Monsters,
That's interesting.
giant watchers,
Yeah.
the silent one, but yeah, it's really interesting.
That made me think of the two stories, if anybody's interested, that influenced Horace H. Hoover, I think, profoundly. One is The Minister's Black Veil, and one is The Repairer of Reputations. I won't go into detail about the stories, but they are very, and they're pretty short. They're very interesting. One is kind of sci-fi, and one is, I'll call it weird fiction, with a little bit of horror. But once you read these stories, one is about a minister who basically just wakes up one day and starts wearing a veil over his face. And he never takes it off. And how people react to that, and sort of for me, it's like, okay, Horace H. Hoover puts a vacuum cleaner on his helmet. How would people react to that? Is it funny? Is it scary? Is it, dismissive? Like, how do people... So that was a big one for me. And then Repair of Reputations, I don't want to spoil that story, but the ending of that story will play into something with Horace H. Hoover. And it's kind of fun having things to reference, I mean, these are amazing writers throughout history that I'm not taking anything from them, but having like specific influences, it's just kind of fun to reference. And whether it's an Easter egg or it's like, I'm kind of stuck here, and the Minister's Black Veil, this weird things happen. How could I take that concept and maybe it's a metaphor, maybe it's a theme, and just go with the theme, or something. So when people ask me about Horace H. Hoover, like comic books, I've yet to come up with a comic book that influenced it. It's all, I would say, literature, reading, and movies, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Obviously, it's Bronze Age style visually, but when you get to like the crux of it, I've never been able to like pinpoint a comic book as an influence. Not that that's a bad thing. I don't know if you guys have ever, like, did you ever think, oh, this is kind of, people have said Hellboy, but man, it's also very not Hellboy. Like that's the closest thing, but in a
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
like
that's it. That's kind of what I would say too. Yeah, it's similar to Hellboy, but really not,
yeah.
So
yeah, I got a little bit of like the Shadow in that, how the Shadow has his associates,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. It's like Slurp and
Okay,
the other
yeah,
guy's-
Max, yeah.
Max, like where did they come from? Was it the same thing? Did like Horace save them and he's like, no, you serve me, but
Well, yeah, we'll find out.
that's more like Doc Savage to me,
Yeah,
got
and the funniest thing about that is I didn't really get into the pulps until much later. It was like I think like most people, right? You get into comics or movies and then you kind of work your way backwards and you keep working your way backwards to like, wait a minute, they stole all that stuff from the pulps. Yeah.
One little thing that I just wanted to mention about the fact that Horace is married, and it just comes up like once, I think, in the trades where he like calls her.
Yes, in
And
issue 3.
Yeah, and it's just such a simple little note to his life, that, but it is a kind of a big point to who this character is. My short review that I did on TikTok or whatever, I mentioned that he's a man. This is a character that's, without being hyper masculine and whatever, but what I would think the classic view of a man is, where he's eloquent, he's smart, he's willing to punch somebody in the face if they need it, he's willing to fight for what's right, all those things, but also just that he has a wife, he's a good husband, he's doing his best.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I will say that what you talking about that, and I didn't think about it until you were talking about Horace that way, but it reminds me of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I think I said Sherlock Holmes meets Mr. Bean or something as like a real quick thing. And that is true to some degree, and I can't remember. I apologize. Whoever came up with this, they said Indiana Jones meets Inspector Clouseau. I'm like, that's another great description of it. Yeah, but the fact that he's married, to me, I thought was really important. And I don't want to give any spoilers, but there is a scene, like before this was a comic book, and I'm doing the sculpture, and I'm just like coming up with the idea. There's a scene that he has with his wife that is very dramatic. And it's one of those like, okay, I've got to get to that scene sometime. You know what I mean? Like it was very important to me. I think it's very important to the character. And it's a scene with his wife. So I'm like, I'm not saying the whole book is leading up to that, but it was important enough to me where I'm like, I got to hit this scene and that scene and that scene. And then I'll feel like I've at least, I've done as much with the character as I wanted to do initially. So the wife thing is interesting. It's funny. I don't know if people noticed how he calls her. I'll explain that later.
I was just thinking about, like, he did color, but I don't remember if he stopped by like a phone. Like,
you'll see him plug something into the outlet on his chest, and then he uses that as a phone.
All right.
So
I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. I gotta go hang out with my wife for a minute,
All
so she
right.
doesn't think I don't love her.
Thank you so much. Seriously, I appreciate you backing and popping in and
Yes, sir.
all the
And
support.
I had fun. Nice meeting you, Dr. Mask.
It's nice meeting you.
We can talk on X or something if we're not connected. I don't think I've if you're on there, connected to you on there, but we'll look around.
What's your handle on there?
Same Crenshaw, FAO.
Okay,
So
I'll check it out.
I think so. But so yeah, I hope you guys have a good night. I hope your
Thanks a lot.
Hope Horus funds and above and beyond and quickly.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Hey, Justin Soto. Hey, Justin, how's it going? Just back. This looks great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Justin's on Central Time, so it's not quite as late for him.
Good for him.
Yeah, you're East Coast, so it's like it's getting a little late.
Yeah, I joined a stream. Omer Glitch is this, and he's the guy that did some of the fan art for the contest.
Yeah.
And he invited me on the show, and he's like, "Yeah, we start 9:00 Central." I'm like, "Oh boy." He's like, and so then he, for some reason, I don't think it was because of me, but he changed his show to be 8 Central, so that wasn't quite so bad. So I hung on until 10:30 our time. I'm like, okay, I'm out, dude.
Yeah, if you got to get going, don't worry about it.
It's what, Saturday night, so yeah, it doesn't matter.
Saturday night. I am Central, deep in the heart of it. Oh, I didn't realize you were in Texas. For some reason, I thought you were Utah-ish or something. Man, Texas. I've never been to Texas.
I've seen every corner of Texas.
Really?
Yeah, I back in the day when I got done with college, I got a job with a multimedia company in LA, and the job, and this is years ago, the job was you and another guy would get in a van and you drive out to high schools across the country and show assemblies.
So far, this sounds like a made-for-TV movie that doesn't end well.
No, it was a cool job. I didn't make any money doing it, but it was a fun job. I got to see a lot of the country, and
That's
like
cool.
I said, I was they split your tour in half. So the first half of the year you'd be in one part of the country, the second half of the tour you'd be in a different part of the country.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty cool. Like I used to travel, not anymore. Like for my job, there was a good 5-8 years where I traveled a lot. I'm a programmer, so I would do trade shows. So I would do software and have to go to these trade shows to make sure everything's working.
right.
So I traveled a lot, and at first it's pretty fun. You get to go to a lot of new cities, but at a certain point, I was like, I don't want to spend another week in a hotel. So
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I traveled, and I'm getting there. I have the Murtaugh card, so
That's right. That's right. Yeah, this was, I don't want to say it was worse, but I mean, basically they put you in a van in, we were a little bit later, but usually it's like September when school's starting or whatever. They
Yeah.
put you in the van and say, see you after Christmas,
man.
and you're on the road. You don't go home unless you happen to be stationed where your home is.
Yeah.
You could stop by on a weekend or something.
I mean, when you're young, that's
Absolutely.
that's
I wish every young person could do that because
that honestly, man, I wish I did that.
it was
all right,
awesome. It was awesome, but I mean, it was obviously tiring too. I mean, I tell stories, like I drove from Lubbock, Texas to Corpus Christi or Houston straight, which was like 24 hours in the van. So there's those stories too, but
yeah, I mean, you have to get along with whoever you're driving with. If not, it's
even if you do, there's times when you don't.
yeah. I can't. That strains any relationship. You could even be married, and that's brutal.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm going to just go through this one more time, and I think we'll call it a night.
Yep.
But again, if you need to head out, don't sweat it. So if anybody is just joining us or has recently, so I just refreshed at 764. That's awesome. 23 backers. Thank you so much, everybody. This is Horace H. Hoover number 4. The book is completely done. It's currently at the proofers. It's the end of an arc, of a 3-issue arc. It's the 4th issue in a 5-issue limited series. Check this out. I have sample pages. It's sort of like an old school Bronze Age book, with a twist for sure. So the content is sort of like a cult detective, New York City, 20s, 30s. It's a little funny, but it's got some drama to it. Here are the first 3 issues. I have sample pages for these. These have already been published, so this would be a separate printing for that. And there is a trade for issues 1 through 3. This is limited, but it's a trade of essentially volume 1. Volume 2 will be issue 4 and 5, and these are all the reward tiers. So these are pretty self-explanatory. Just get the first book, catch up, save $4. Digital Media Mania, which you save $6 if you do the digital and the print. And the detective set is a resin model, a bookmark, a custom sketch card that I will paint, 2.5 by 3.5, and the issue. And then there's the retailer bundle of 5 issues each. The add-ons here. So if you pick a tier, you can pick any of these add-ons. So bookmarks, stickers, prints, a bumper sticker, which is like an election bumper sticker, which I thought is fun. There's original art. You can add all this stuff. Here's the resin model. Original art. I've never sold any of my pages. I've done a lot of sketch cards, but no original pages. So there's 1 page from each issue. So if you are keen on my artwork, I would pick these up. These are inks on blue lines. And then I have some stretch goals, a free sticker, free print. This is a magnet set, which will be interchangeable with dialogue, and I'll basically grow this eventually. And that's it. So any questions on any of the tiers, any of the add-ons, let me know. This is up for 44 days. So through the holidays, who doesn't want a Horace H. Hoover comic book for Christmas? I can't think of one person.
Nope. Only crazy people wouldn't.
Exactly. Kids love comics. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They love them. They read them all the time. So I'll be doing my stream. I have a YouTube channel. This is the YouTube channel, but I'll be showing probably live sketch card art. So as I'm doing that, you'll be able to see, if you bought a sketch card, you'll see that live. And I'll be streaming a lot. You will get sick of me. Maybe not. Thanks everybody in chat. This was a lot of fun. This is 3 hours of streaming. This is a marathon for me. There's a lot of people in chat, but yeah, I gotta call it for the night. I appreciate everybody popping in. Mark, thank you so much. Right. Dr. Mask, he has currently a book. It's in chat, so he has a Fund My Comic for that. Check that out. It's a Poe illustrated narration. Very, very cool. Anything else you want to say?
No, back Horace H. Hoover. Because
thank you so much.
It's a great story. It's a great book. You. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. This was awesome, and have a good night.
Thanks for having me.